Once I was the ape of the hour, they think I'm a coward, an absolute zero. I'm nobody's hero, an absolute zero. I'm nobody's hero. I'm nobody's hero.
All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome to a stream that I've been very excited to have with two of my favorite Nintendo fans out here, and I'm looking forward to talking all things there is about Donkey Kong, but specifically about Donkey Kong Bananza, a game that I've been waiting 20 years for. Basically I don't know, I guess a sequel to one of my favorite Donkey Kong games, which is obviously DK64. So I'm looking forward to this chat, and obviously there's some cool news that was actually announced just this morning for you guys and last night for me. But without further ado, let's jump right into it. So, want to give a big shout out to Mr. Banana himself, Carl, Top Banana. What's up, man?
Hello, folks.
And of course, the old head in the room who's been with Donkey Kong longer than both Carl and I, Extra Zero. What's up, dude?
Oh, the people want me to say it. I'm gonna say it. I'm hot for Donkey Kong.
Yes, fun fact: Zero was there when they put up the original Donkey Kong machine in Baltimore, Maryland, right?
No, I was a couple years before I was born.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
Yeah, but I did grow up with the original arcade game. I had the NES game. In fact, I played the hell out of the Donkey Kong Jr. Collection back when I was a kid. And it was that and Pac-Man were just two of my absolute favorite arcade games. So I've been with the franchise since the beginning, and it's just one that I really love.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. I kind of wish I grew up with Super Nintendo because I really fell in love with Donkey Kong Country, but that wasn't until like I don't know, I guess 8 years ago now, 10 years ago now is when I first played it. But I love the rare style of DK, like everything they created around it with like the Kremlins and all that stuff, like really cool compared to just being an ape on top of a building throwing barrels down. So
Well, I was a Genesis kid, and my best friend in elementary school had Super Nintendo, and I just felt I couldn't get enough of Donkey Kong Country. We're playing it at his house and just getting through it. And then in middle school, I made friends with some kids that had 2 and 3, so that was how I played them.
nice.
But yeah, a great series, and it just made me jealous because back then I was stuck with my Genesis. I couldn't say, "Hey, I want a Super Nintendo." No, you already have a game system.
Yeah, the you can only have one console at a time childhood. I'm very familiar with that. Well, before we get too deep into it, I want to just say hello to people in the chat, and then we'll jump right into just some background about each other with DK. So, first of all, Ernest Ferratu the Vampire, always here, always ready to troll. And he says, I want you to paint me like your Japanese gorillas. So, I'll get right on that right after this stream. Of course, everybody's favorite Nintendo hater, Abomination AJ's in the house. And I'm only saying that because he liked to clown on the Super Mario Bros. Movie because apparently it wasn't up to his standards. So, anyways, but it's good to see you, dude. And here coming in at the end, the Padawannabe. What's up, dude? Him and I have been just talking about F1 racing because he's really into it right now. So, and I know he's an old head too, so I know he's definitely would have played these games. But yeah, so I know you kind of already talked a little bit about it, Zero, with your history. Is there anything else you want to elaborate about, like kind of like some fond memories growing up with DK and like playing those games before we go into like the meat and potatoes of this? And of course, I'll give Carl a
Yeah.
chance.
So I remember I played the NES version of it before, and I remember just playing those 3 levels over and over, getting pretty good at it. And then I'll never forget the first time I went to the arcade and saw the Pie Factory, and I was like, wait, what? Because I was so used to, back in the NES days, if you got a game on the NES, it would tend to have additional content. right? Like Ninja Turtles, the arcade game, had 2 additional levels. Is an example that kind of stands out. So I remember like my beloved NES game feeling gypped on that, but at least I had Donkey Kong, Donkey Kong Junior, which I really liked. And then I remember being kind of like iffy on Donkey Kong 3. Like I remember discovering that and going like, oh. I do have one really fond memory that's gonna sound a little silly, but like I said, I was a one console kid. But when the Game Boy came out, I was able to get one of those when the Game Boy Color came out, and because it was like, oh, it's actually a new system, you know, even though I could play all Game Boy games. I was like in 8th grade when Game Boy Color came out, to date myself. But I remember, because I didn't have a Super Nintendo and I had a PlayStation, I wasn't going to go out and get a Super Nintendo. I later did when I went to high school, but that's another story. But I played the hell out of the Donkey Kong Country D-Make on Game Boy Color. Do you remember that one?
Are you talking about like Donkey Kong Land?
No. They
Oh.
ported Donkey Kong Country in its entirety to Game Boy Color in like a full 16 to 8-bit D-Make.
Oh yes. Oh,
And
okay,
yeah,
okay.
um, I just remember being really enamored with that port and playing the hell out of that. And then, eventually I got to the point where I was in high school and I was able to, I got a job and I was able to buy stuff. And then when the Wii came out, I finally was able, through the virtual console, to, actually own all of those games proper and have them in, one place. And I did emulate them through SNES 9X when I was in high school, but there were some emulation issues on that, and it just wasn't the same. Because back then you didn't have Xbox controllers; you had to use a Microsoft Sidewinder controller.
Yes.
And yeah, they just they were not as good as Xbox controllers. I'll tell you that much. But I just remember being able to find. I remember like 2006, 2007, whenever Donkey Kong Country came to the Wii Virtual Console, and actually having a proper controller, and finally getting to play a decently emulated version of it. I was like, finally got it. But I've just enjoyed the franchise through and through. Now, I will say, I know you said you like Donkey Kong 64. That's actually one I don't like.
Oh no. Oh no. Well, I guess if you want to elaborate why without like going crazy about it,
Yeah,
I'm curious.
it's just like that was Rare's phase. Like there's 2 Rare games I really don't like, and it's Donkey Kong 64 and Jet Force Gemini, because they're just games that don't end. There's just there is like too much to do. And I think both of those games kind of came at a time where I was juggling other games.
Mm.
And like I get it, if you're like younger and that was like the game you had, you got a lot of bang for your buck. But like in the case of like Jet Force Gemini, there's some like grueling late game stuff you have to do, and I feel like with Donkey Kong 64, they really make you jump through a lot of hoops just to complete the game. Um, so I just never really got into it, and I also just I had some gripes with that camera system.
Oh
So
yes.
I'll talk about it more in Bonanza, but playing playing Bonanza, that was like, it's like, yeah, this is what I always wanted DK64 to be.
That's interesting. Okay. I first of all, I was gonna ask. So that's interesting that you played. I'm pretty sure it was called. Maybe in Japan it's called Donkey Kong Land, or for the Game Boy, the original Game
Yeah,
Boy.
there's a trilogy of Donkey Kong lands,
Yeah.
and they're all really good.
And I was kind of curious because a lot of people complained that when they ported, like, not really ported, but when they made like those NES titles for the Game Boy, how your field of view is like much smaller now because it's like more or you're zoomed in more. The camera,
Yeah.
whatever, zoomed in. Was that difficult playing that original Donkey Kong game in there or on that?
Back in the day, it didn't feel like it. Now,
Hmm.
I'm sure if I went back, because again, like, it was a different time with portable gaming. Like, you accepted and adapted to the concessions that you had,
Yes.
you know? So, I'd really, and, in all honesty, I've got my analog pocket right here with every single Game Boy game on an SD card. I could probably, while we're sitting here, fact check myself and see, how it holds up.
Right.
But I remember just getting used to it and acclimated to it, and it felt fun. It had all of the, like, it just felt very similar to the movement you experienced in the Super Nintendo games. but I'm trying to make sure that I'm not thinking back through like rose-colored glasses. Like,
Well, I will add that I played Metroid 2 on like the 3DS in the Game Boy, like with that screen size, and I liked it. I thought it was fine. I didn't really have issues with it. I still need to go play like Super Mario Land and even like Castlevania and their Game Boy and Game Boy Color formats. So I think it really just depends on like how quickly you get used to it. And also like you basically started on that and then moved up to like the actual Super Nintendo version of that game. So it
yeah,
didn't really like phase you. So that's interesting. And about 64, I understand the issue with it being too long. Like I get that. Like it's like the worst game, like it's the worst collectathon game out there because of everything you can collect. I totally get that. So if you're like if that didn't really interest you, camera controls, I can see that being an issue because like 64 and camera controls just wasn't really. I mean, it was the start of it, right?
yeah.
So like you can't like fault it too hard, or I won't. But yeah, I get it. I get it. Yeah, with DK64. So
So I actually just booted up Donkey Kong Land, and it's actually very playable. It's big sprites, but the game kind of does the same thing that Sonic on the Game Gear does, where it's actually got pretty good horizontal and vertical scrolling
nice.
that stays in with the character. But it is a slower game, like
Oh,
noticeably slower
yeah.
game than and
The
not
Super
frame
Nintendo,
rate,
yeah.
just yeah, just Donkey Kong's motion and movement is significantly slower than what you got. But again, that was kind of like a hey, product of its time sort
Yeah.
of thing.
I'm gonna
Where
have to try
hey,
that out now because I have the Game Boy Advance version of that. So like when they ported a lot of the Super Nintendo games to the GBA,
yeah,
I have that one and it's cool. But I'm very curious about that original one. So yeah, I'm definitely have to check that out now. Thanks to you.
yeah.
All right, Carl, being the least experienced here, what is what is your DK love? Tell us the sweet love story you have with DK.
I have basically the easiest background with Donkey Kong. Watch the TV show and Donkey Konga. That's
Oh yeah.
basically really it.
There we go. Perfect. You took the musical journey with Donkey Kong.
Yes. I was playing Toxic by Britney Spears on Donkey Konga to get all those extra points.
Oh God, I forgot that was a song on there. I forgot that they had licensed music.
Yeah, I think they were. I can't remember all of them. I just remember like this is fun to play because you just gotta like keep slapping it really quickly. When
Yeah.
they did the. It's like on expert, it was like wild. I'm pretty sure like so many people broke those like really cheaply paid bongo sets.
Well, it's funny. I remember them being incredibly durable, and the memory I have of the bongas was when I worked part time at Game Crazy, which was Hollywood Video's answer to GameStop. If anybody even remembers Hollywood Video,
I
Um,
do. Rip.
Yeah.
and it was a cool store before they got the GameStop CFO. That's another story. But I remember we had a box full of those Donkey Konga controllers, and they like held up like a champ. I never saw a broken one.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys keep up with it, but like how expensive are they in the US? Because at least out here in Japan, I see them like pretty often and they're not like too terribly expensive.
I was just at a game store a couple weeks ago. I had a buddy in from California, and I saw a bunch of them, and I recall seeing them at like $20.
Yeah, I was gonna say about like 20, $30. I've seen them.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. It's been a minute, but when I bought my set out here, it came with the game too. It was like less than $10. So I figured like there would have been a lot of them, so it would have been cheap. But I didn't grow up with it, unfortunately. So it was kind of cool experiencing it for the first time. But yeah, so the TV show. Did you watch that live or like through DVDs or VHSs there, Carl?
No, I watched it live when my mom would basically nanny for these kids. She would bring me along after school, and it would be on. So I just remember watching it in a rich person's kitchen with their little tiny TV that they had there back in the day.
That's awesome, dude. I love the show a lot. I have the first season on DVD, but my introduction was through like a VHS of it, which I still have. I don't know where it is right now, but I thought it was just like really goofy, but also like, oh, this is a Nintendo game, like in a show, like the Nintendo character in a show. And I know Zero grew up with like the Super Mario Brothers Super Show and the Legend of
Yeah.
Zelda show, so you
Hey,
understand that
let's not
feeling.
forget we had the Super Mario 3 show because they just were like, screw it, we're gonna make a game based on, we're gonna make a show based on Super Mario Brothers 3.
Yes. Yeah, and they continued it with Super Mario World too when they went to like Dino Land or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like I understand the coolness and like the joy of like I have a Nintendo character as a TV show that I can watch regardless of how silly it might be. But the memes from it are fantastic. So speaking of memes, I forgot to change my picture, so I'll do that later. But yeah, and then the Conga DK Conga, right? I think there's 3 of them, but I think only 2 of them came to the US if I recall correctly.
I think three of them did, if I'm not mistaken.
I think only 2 did because I believe one is only Japanese exclusive.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Oh, you know what I
too.
was thinking of? There was the one where they removed it at the last second. That was originally supposed to be a bongo controlled game.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Huh. I guess did nobody so I guess nobody played Jungle Beats because I really like Jungle Beats a lot.
No, I did not. I own
I
it,
did.
but I did not.
I did play it, but it was one that I didn't own. But we had it hooked up when I was working at Game Crazy.
Gotcha. It's a pretty cool game. Like it's weird because it feels like an arcade game. I think it was made
It's
by
short.
Namco. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very short. But it's still like a really fun game to play. I mean, you're talking about wailing away on the bongos in that game, especially when you're at the end of every level, you got to like eat all the bananas and stuff, but it's cool.
Yeah.
I liked it a lot, and they brought it back for the Wii, so you could play it on the Wii with the motion controls.
There were 3 games. It's Donkey Konga, Donkey Konga 2, and Jungle Beat were the 3 that came out. Donkey Konga 3 was Japanese exclusive.
Okay, yeah, that's what
And
I
then
thought.
Barrel Blast was the one that was originally supposed to be a Konga controlled game, and they removed it in the 11th hour.
I'm kind of glad they did because it's
Yeah.
it's already a bit difficult with the Wii controls.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's an interesting game. I should probably stream sometime. 'Cause I like it, but it's a very difficult. You want to talk about people complain about motion controls? That's the game I would point to. It is a bit tricky.
Mm-hmm.
All right, cool. And so Carl, did you like play like after that besides Bonanza? Did you even try any other DK games, or was that really it for you?
I mean, I played the other ones at a friend's house for the Super NES and stuff like that. But I never had a Super NES, and my N64 time was devoted to everything Pokemon. So I never played anything but like Star Fox and Pokemon. That was it. Star Fox, Pokemon. That was my N64.
Did you play Returns or Tropical Freeze?
Nope.
Man,
I
you-
didn't have a Wii U. That's also another thing. So, and I didn't have a Wii for the longest time because, like, kind of like you guys, like you were saying, one console. When I was a teenager, that's the only console I had was a 360.
Oh, okay. Well, that's fair. I get that. Well, now you have no excuse because you have all the games. You just need the time, right?
Yeah, that's the problem. We can't all just be unemployed.
Yeah.
We could. We just choose not to.
Yes. Some of us have dignity. So, oh man. All right. Well, yeah. So as for me, my upbringing with DK was actually through, like I mentioned, Donkey Kong 64, and the interesting thing about it was it actually also introduced me to the original game because it had an arcade version of the original Donkey Kong game inside DK64, and it was really annoying because you basically needed to get X amount of points in order to get a golden banana, and I really wasn't a big fan of that because it was I wasn't good at NES games at the time. It was a bit difficult for me. So, but I had a lot of fun playing DK64, and everything about it, the music, the characters, the sound effects, the worlds running around in them. I don't know. I guess it is a bit nostalgic bias for me, but and I've played it recently as an adult, and it's still for me it holds up well for me. The only issue is if you play the Wii U version, or maybe even some of the other emulated versions, because of the way that some of the mini games are designed around the frame rates of like the original like frame rates, some of the mini games are like impossible to beat. So it's not on NSO, right? Zero. They haven't put this on NSO yet.
I don't think that they have.
I think that might be one of the reasons is with the frame rate. I don't know if they would have, because I don't know. I haven't played like let's say Ocarina of Time on the NSO or even Star Fox. Like I don't know like if the frame matches like your TV's frame rate, but that's an issue with some of the DK64 mini games. So I don't know if that's like they're trying to figure out or they don't want to, so they're not gonna throw it on there. But yeah. Anyways, it's beside
They have not.
they have not. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and another cool point about it was the multiplayer. My siblings and I had a big family, so we all played like the multiplayer together, and it was just fun running around in arena and like shooting each other with like the fruit guns and whatnot, and throwing grenades and stuff. And yeah, it was just a blast. And after that, it was like many years later that as an adult, I was finally able to play Donkey Kong Country. And that was through the Super Nintendo Classic, the overpriced emulator that Nintendo sold way back in 2018, I think it was, or 2017.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah,
That's forever ago.
yeah, and that one it was interesting because that was kind of like the start of for me of like kind of reappreciating older Nintendo games, because for the longest time I avoided anything that was basically Super Nintendo or older because I just thought they were too difficult or that they weren't like interesting enough. But my mind, I've kind of grown from that, and I really appreciate a lot of like the NES titles now. And with Donkey Kong Country, I had a lot of fun just sitting down playing through it like every day and trying to get better at it. And I actually kind of went through it blind, with the exception of my roommate at the time. He grew up playing it, so he would give me some pointers, or like there's a secret barrel here you can get into that will like launch you halfway across the stage and everything. So besides that, I had a lot of fun playing it. And I tried playing 2, and that game's actually a bit difficult for me. And I'm not a big fan of like the aesthetic of it. I don't know, like I really like what they did with the first game. You're on this island and the different kind of like island type locations, and then the second game is like kind of going through like a nightmare or a fever dream with like the different like locations you're running through. So I need to push through it, but I like the gameplay for across the 3 different games, and the music's obviously very it's pinnacle for gaming music, especially like ambient gaming music. But I really fell in love with Donkey Kong Country Returns, and I should have said that first, but when it first came out on the Nintendo Wii, and I remember just spending like hours and hours and hours playing that game and just having an absolute blast with it. And then when the 3DS port of it came out, I remember like buying that version and then needing to upgrade my SD card because I remember it didn't have the space to hold it, and just having a blast with that version too. And I was really shocked when they decided to do Tropical Freeze on the Wii U, and playing through that game, and how much of like a better upgrade it felt like, because the graphics were a little bit prettier. The like they put more effort into the camera angles with all the action that's happening while you're like traversing across the stage. It was just like mind blowing just to play through Tropical Freeze. And then, obviously they ported it to the Switch, and I like the Switch version a lot because they have Funky Kong in it, and it's just fun to kind of like play that game with a broken character. So it was weird that they decided to wait to release Return so late into the game of the Switch, but I know we talked about it before, Zero, with what they did with Returns, but yeah, and like I mentioned earlier, I watched the TV show through the VHS. And then also, rewatching the entire season on DVD. That was a lot of fun. And of course, I changed my profile icon here with Bluster Kong. I don't know if you remember who that was, Carl, one of the best characters in the show.
I do, but it's been forever. I just remember he was weird and like A little bit effeminate. Like one of those weird guys.
Yes, because it was a French studio that made it, so of course they're gonna lean into it.
You know, it's kind of funny too that back in the late '90s, mid to late '90s, it was French and Canadian studios that were kind of the I guess the trailblazers for CG animation.
Yeah, you're correct,
'Cause
man.
in
Yep.
in Canada, you guys had Mainframe, which was a huge studio that nobody seems to remember today.
I remember that. They also, I think, had a video game for Mainframe, if I recall, too.
Who had a video game for Mainframe?
I think they just made a video game for Mainframe. I think I actually seen that in the wild when I was out retro shopping.
Huh. It Mainframe is the one that has like it has like the blue people and like the digital type
Well,
of
that was Reboot. There was a
Reboot,
Reboot.
sorry.
Oh,
Yeah.
video game.
reboot! Sorry,
Yeah,
reboot.
yeah.
My bad.
Yeah, there was a Reboot video game. And
That's what I was thinking of. Sorry.
yeah, Mainframe was a pretty big deal for me because they were the studio that did Beast Wars.
Yes,
So that
yeah.
was,
Beast Wars.
or as you had them in Canada, Beasties, which I always kind of thought was like, oh, you guys got to because you couldn't use the word war in Canadian TV for kids.
Yeah, that's weird. Especially I wonder I know like the UK had a lot of weird words that they had to change around too for stuff.
Yeah, I like I said, it's just I love when you can find the Canadian voice actors too, because sometimes they take you out of a serious moment with their stories.
Well, I will say that Canada actually had some really good voice actors with the Ocean Group, and that original Dragon Ball Z dub I thought was actually pretty decent.
Oh, I'm gonna have to check that out then. I think I've heard someone else say that before. So, when it came to the voice actor for DK in the TV show, it's the same guy that voice acts Rick in Dino Crisis, and I discovered that when I was playing the game. I was like, why does this guy sound familiar? And I googled it. I was like, oh, it's the same guy. That's pretty funny actually. Obviously the singer's different. They use a different singer, but or different voice. So no, yeah, back in that time period, they kind of pioneered a lot of the 3D like CGI shows. And funny enough, the Donkey Kong show was actually kind of like it was a weird like live action type of show in France where they had the 3D characters like interacting and dancing in front of like real people. And then they decided to just take that and put it into like an actual show. And then they did a second season, and the second season was done by a different studio. That's why like the art style looks a bit different. Because the first season was done with like a weird combo of face or excuse me, animation by body, like a mocap suit, and then the face animation was done with like hands, like they had like kind of like a motion capture like glove for the the face animation. So it has like a weird charm to it, but it is like some people might get turned off by it because it is a bit odd for depending on if you grew up with it or not. So, but yeah, Beast Wars. That's why they look pretty similar. That makes sense now with the whole Mainframe doing that and reboot. So, yeah. Well, besides that, I don't have anything else to really say about my history with it. I did like the DK64 cartridge had like the yellow cartridge to it, and I know they had the special console and the controller too, which is like really expensive nowadays. But
They also had the banana I guess glove you could get on your controller, which I thought was funny.
a banana glove. Oh wow.
Yeah, there was like a wraparound for the controller that like made it look like a banana. I'll
That's
see if I can
cool.
find it.
Okay. Yeah, so now we like you guys know like our history with DK and whatnot. I want to just give we'll start with Carl. If you can just give us a quick review of like Donkey Kong Bonanza, because that's what we were talking about today, and without like getting into spoilers specifically, just like when you first heard about the game and then when you actually got your hands on it, like what were like how was that for you?
Well, I think when I saw the announcement trailer for it, I was like, "Oh, this looks fun." I forget which Nintendo Direct was that. Did you and I cover that, or was it like you and Brian that covered it?
It was me and Brian because I know he was losing his bananas when we watched it. So, yeah.
So I was like, "Oh yeah, this looks fun." And the more you saw of the game and got more details of it, I'm like, "Oh yeah, this is gonna be fun." I think so. And when I finally played it and beat it, and I'm like having fun with it, I'm like, it just feels fun. This is like what a old school video game really should feel like. Like there's not like this over the top like super metaphorical crazy story. I mean, there is one in there, but it isn't one like where they're trying to make it like a commentary about like modern society or something. It's like no, it's just a nice story about having regaining your confidence, and DK's like your big brother there to help you regain that.
Yes.
So, like I said, I really just loved just how destructible everything was. It was very cathartic and soothing, I guess you could say, to just kind of wail on everything and dig your way through like these holes and stuff like that. And yeah, overall, as we get more into it, it's really amazing how much detail and how this game feels like it keeps changing all the way to the very end,
Yeah.
where it's like everything feels like way more interesting than I would think a Donkey Kong game was ever going to reach with me, to be honest.
Side note, I just made it interesting.
Yes, thank you for doing that. Real quickly, this is the cover you're talking about. That is, I did not know
Yeah.
about that. That's really funny.
Yeah, I can't remember how you went about getting it. Whether it was I want to say it was something that people who were subscribers to the Nintendo Power could send away for, or they got with their subscription.
That's, I mean, yeah, I guess I mean, it was the same thing with the controller, right? The controller was earned the same way.
I really can't remember how you got that. Because it was a yellow controller with the logo on it.
Yeah.
Let's see. Maybe this one has.
Yeah.
Let me just Google it real quick.
Yeah, no
there's
worries.
got to be a story for how you got it. I want to say it was Nintendo Power, but I can't remember the story behind it.
Real quickly, I'm just gonna shout out to thanks for coming on by, as well as Pop Culture Mechanic. Always, my favorite mechanic is in the house, and Corporeal Lifeform, Mr. Spoiler Searcher himself. And appreciate you guys hanging out and having fun. Yeah, if it wasn't clear, we're definitely gonna be getting into spoilers here soon, so you've been warned.
The controller was Nintendo Power.
Okay.
But I don't know, or I can't recall the story, or I don't see anybody sharing like how you got it. I wouldn't be surprised if the controller sleeve came along with it.
Well, I know one autistic man we
Yeah.
can ask about that. So, yeah. So to just kind of go back to what Carl was saying about the whole Big Brother thing, I did like the relationship that they showed between DK and Pauline, and just the game was all about really like kind of like building confidence, and like you said, the whole Big Brother dynamic to it. And we'll get more into it later, but I thought it was very wholesome. And that's like one of the best things about a lot of these Nintendo games is how wholesome they can be, just in some of the small things with the storytelling there. And yeah, it was really interesting. So appreciate you sharing that with me or with us, excuse me. Moving on to Zero, what was your I guess like initial reaction to Bonanza coming out and like first time playing it without jumping into like spoilers right away?
So I was hyped for it. Like I was covering the Switch 2 Direct with the guys from Gronkin Gaming. Shout out to them. I go on the channel like once a week and talk gaming with Lethal Lightning, Mazza, Cream NATO, sometimes John Connors if we cross paths if we're on the same time, but mostly Lethal, Cream, and Maz. And so we were covering the Direct, and that was my first glimpse of Bonanza. I had no idea it was coming. Had no idea what games were in the pipeline, other than at the time I knew we were going to get a new Mario Kart, and I was pretty sure we were going to get I was pretty sure we were going to get some sort of hint of a 3D platformer, because with the first Switch, Mario Odyssey wasn't far removed from the release. So I was hoping for Mario Odyssey 2, then I see this, and I'm like, holy crap, that looks fantastic.
Yep.
And everything I saw of it, I was really hyped. Like I was hyped for Mario Kart, and I knew that was going to be interesting, but I'm a big 3D platformer fan, and when I saw what Bonanza, what they were showing off, and I was like, oh, okay, this, I was hearing the rumors that the Odyssey team was working on a new platformer, and so that got me excited. I was like, oh, okay, well, this will tie in because Pauline's the mayor of New Donk City. Where is this going to take place in a timeline? This could be really interesting and cool. And they were kind of like showing a bit of the destructibility in it, but I didn't know how far that was going to go, so it was really getting my imagination going. I was like, what's this odd rock character going to be? And then of course they're like, oh, it's Pauline. Not long after, because they had another showcase for it. So you didn't when I first saw it, we didn't know Pauline was
Right.
even going to be in it.
Yeah, how was
The
that like?
second one where
How was that surprise? Because I mean, that kind of like flipped everything on its head. Like, oh, okay, now we have Pauline teaming up with DK. Like, what's going on here?
Well, I thought it was going to be interesting. I was curious where they were going to go with it. I won't be surprised if they end up doing like a Grandpa Mario, because it's like when we get into spoiler territory with the timeline, it gets a little dicey.
Yeah.
So I don't want to spoil anything there, but I was just like, well, this is interesting. Is this a prequel to the arcade game? Is it what is this exactly? But I was intrigued because when you see this sort of stuff and they drop the breadcrumbs, you're like, okay, I want to get in there and see what they have to offer. But
Right.
I was just really intrigued to have like this 3D platforming game where there's tons of destructibility. And I was like kind of curious how that was going to play out in the game. Was it going to be a one-trick pony? Was there going to be a lot of variety? And my first time playing it wasn't actually in July. I happened into a Best Buy that had a demo. So you start off in that opening area in Ignat Island, and basically you have a 15-minute time demo. And so I'm standing there in Best Buy playing through it, and I was just enamored with it. I was like, oh, this is a lot of fun. This reminds me so much of the PlayStation 2 version of Red Faction, the original Red Faction. I remember playing that at a friend's house back in I think near the launch. He got his 2001, and there wasn't a lot, in the launch lineup for PlayStation, but playing that and just like, feeling like you could dig anywhere and just destroying the environment and carving paths, and now you had something that was a lot more realized with a higher fidelity. And I was just having a great time just seeing how far I could tear up this environment, and all the different ways the environment reacted. And I was like, okay, I can't wait for mid-July. I can't wait to just sink my teeth into this game. And yeah, I really enjoyed the demo. And then when I got it launch day, I just put everything aside and I just sunk into it. And then it was funny. The only discouraging thing was I was hearing people were like, "Oh, I beat the game in 6 hours," and then that was a lie.
Yeah, yeah.
That was a lie. I don't know anybody that again. I was saying that there's a little bit too much to do in DK64. There is a lot to do in this game, and I'm sure we'll get into that a bit later. But I had some pretty positive impressions when I got it on launch day, though. I was a little worried after getting off Ignat Island and playing through the first level, but by the second level, it really clicked with me.
Yep.
And that's when I really, really started to like get it. Now, there's things about it that I don't like, and we'll get into that when the time comes. But for the most part, it was a very positive first impression, and it didn't take long to click with me.
Yeah, I had the same feeling too. Just like that first area, I was like, "Oh boy, is this what the game's gonna be about?" Like going forward, and yeah, like you said, it just clicks after the second area. So, yeah, the whole Pauline stuff was really interesting because, like, they kind of faked us out with it, and they showed us like the Rock character and first, and then after that they updated the all the promotion and with Pauline on it, and then the amiibo dropping was pretty crazy for it too because they that. Because at first, when they teased Pauline, I was like, this can't be real. And then when they confirmed the amiibo, I was like, oh, I guess this is real. And then obviously, us growing up with the games and the store and the lore and stuff, it's like, how's this going to apply to all this? So, yeah, it was for me, getting into like my experience with it. Like I said, I watched the premiere or the like announcement of it live with Nerporial, and I was very excited because I just wanted to play a 3D DK game again, and like in the modern setting. And we finally got that, and at first I was very intrigued with the gameplay, like smashing things around and just seeing stuff getting blown to pieces and everything, and it was pretty cool. And then once I finally got my hands on it, I was like, okay, this actually is very smooth. Like just like as far as the gameplay itself, like just punching and whatnot. We'll get into like some of the performance issues later, but just the flow of it was fine. Like I was like, okay, this actually makes sense when you're punching up, left, and down too, even, and like how that was implemented. I really liked it. I liked the feedback. Excuse me, the feedback of it was really cool. It felt very like DK felt like just really strong playing through this compared to like some of the other games, and so I think they did a good job with just how that was done. But yeah, and then just the like the world itself was really cool. Like just the like jumping into the Ingot Island, right? You're like in the depths and whatnot. Or it wasn't even the depths. I didn't realize we are gonna be going to the center of the planet, so that was interesting. But going to like the first world and just like, wow, this is like really huge and like expansive, and it's like really beautiful looking. Kind of took me back, and going into these other levels, it was just it was a great game to play just to chill out to. Like you didn't really have to think a whole lot, and I really liked that about it. But yeah, and of course, I'm trying to think what else about it was really. I'm glad that oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say when you're talking about like a great game to chill out to, I think the soundtrack's integral to that because it kind of brings back, not emulating entirely the soundtrack from Donkey Kong Country,
Yeah.
the Donkey Kong Country trilogy, but it definitely has those ambient tracks that just kind of put you in a relaxed state.
Yeah.
And yeah, it kind of like that, late 90s, early 2000s 3D platformer music. Just there's like a cheeriness to it, and then there's an ambiance to it, and it's a great game at just putting you in a mood to just relax and kick back and enjoy the game.
And smash stuff.
Yeah, the sound design in this game was incredible.
Yes.
Yeah, from how all the environmental sound effects were, from when you would dig and have to look for something. I definitely loved when you got to punch the bananas and they made like a very visceral impact and crunch sound.
Yeah.
Like it's the small attention to details that like really drove it home. And you can ask my wife. I was like also like autistically going banana every time.
Yeah, me too.
Did you see the one meme where it's like your neighbor's POV when you're playing Donkey Kong Bananza at 3 a.m.
Yes.
It's just the guy lying in bed and the zebra songs on.
No, I didn't see that one.
Oh, it's great. Funny. We should try to find it because it's got like that it obviously sounds like it's far away, like through like 3 walls, because you have like that muffled sound to it. It's so funny, dude. Oh man. Well,
and I want to say that too. All the Paulina songs that you get when you do the transformations, all of them were fun and all of them were bangers, and I like to listen to them. I wish I could have them on my Apple soundtrack here, Nintendo,
or the Nintendo Music app. Yeah.
Like stuff like that, like like I said, they one of the things I keep saying about modern gaming that I think a lot of people take really for granted is just how amazing sound design has become in a lot of these games.
Yes. Yeah. What game was it? I was listening to somebody stream a game recently, and I can only listen. It was at work, and I was just listening to all the different sound effects and like how I think I don't know, they're playing some game and just the squishy sounds and like that's everything about it, like the what do you call it, the reverberating of the rooms and stuff like that. It's like, yeah, sound design has just been like really expanded over the years, and really the important part is when it comes to interacting with objects, right? Like in this DK game with the different objects you collect, like the metals, the fossils and whatnot, and obviously smashing the bananas, like just all those little sound effects like add to the experience and the immersion of like you playing this game. It was just like, it was very well done, and I kind of wish I want to play with headphones. I kind of want to play with headphones and see how that sounds, like surround sound headphones. So yeah. Oh man, I wish I had that meme on for you right now, because it is a really funny meme.
I thought I saved it, but I guess I didn't.
Yeah.
I guess I'll search on.
Well, I appreciate people coming on by. Of course, Nerd Takes, thanks for coming on by. But yeah, so this was our review for Donkey Kong Bananza. Appreciate you guys hanging out and having fun. I know we all enjoyed this game, and for those of you guys who didn't play it, Make sure you guys go out and buy this game. So we're gonna close out with this special video, and hopefully you guys enjoy it. All right.
Wow, you put a lot of work into this. I could tell.
Yeah, sorry about the audio. I thought I exported it with a higher volume, but I guess it didn't come out like that. So, you gotta have this. You gotta have the fake out because that is like one of the craziest things that happened in Donkey Kong Country was the fake out at the end of the game, and so we got to do a fake out on stream. Otherwise, we're not up to par.
Yeah, but you just confused poor old Brian. You gotta give him a chance
I
here.
just got here.
Yeah, he just got here. Anyways,
You don't know what's going on.
well, we're going full into spoiler territory. So this is your spoiler warning for those listening on the VOD as well as live. Like, we're gonna dive into it, or dig into it, and we can go as unhinged as we can with the spoilers. But did you find that real quickly, Zero? I know I cut you off there when you.
I did not. Like, trying to search for it is tough because everybody's talking about the DLC.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. All right. Well, I guess we'll just move on. If you do find it, let me know, and I'll try to throw it up on screen. So
I'm gonna search my profile because I feel like I retweeted it at some point.
So when it came to the gameplay, especially with the Bonanza powers, I didn't really know where they were gonna go with it because originally, with the promotions and everything, they just showed off the DK, like, his like Super Kong form. And I was like, okay, that's cool. Like, we're gonna have this Kong form, and like we'll use it throughout the game and whatnot. And yeah, little did we know that like once you get to like one of the other sub layers, you start unlocking like more than one form. And I was like, oh, this is actually really interesting. So they all have their different powers and whatnot. Going to Zero first, like what was your initial kind of reaction with the first Bonanza form, and then going after that, like how did you think it was gonna play out? I guess afterwards.
Yeah, so I went into it blind, but I was looking at the skill tree and I was like, oh, well, I guess you just must unlock different things because you can see like the silhouettes of
Yes.
Different. So I thought you were just gonna get the the Kong Bonanza and you were gonna get different attacks and different things and just really flesh it out. I was not expecting the zebra. I was not expecting the snake or my favorite, the elephant. I love the elephant one.
Oh yes.
But I mean, really, once you get the zebra, you're like, okay, there's got to be more. Each one of those silhouettes has to be, something different. So, I just felt that added a lot to the fun of it. I will say I'm a little surprised that they didn't design it in a sense that you would get a Bonanza transformation and then they would expect you to go back to a sub layer in order to exploit those powers to do things. Like I will say that was my biggest surprise, and I don't want to say it's a detriment because there was a level of satisfaction in that you can go to each layer and autistically 100% it with what you have and what you're given.
Yeah.
So I for me that worked out well, but they definitely could have extended the life of the game. But granted, it's a very long game.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed them. I enjoyed experimenting with them. I enjoyed having fun with. I say that like the zebra one has probably the best theme, but it was the one I used the least because it's very specific to
Yes.
use and it's very unwieldy.
Yes.
and like it's the hardest of the transformations to use.
It is, yeah, yeah.
But the elephant one being my favorite, I think the Kong one being the most versatile, and the snake one being surprising. Like I thought I was gonna hate the snake one because Nintendo and anything with a spring, I was having like flashbacks to the spring power up in Mario Galaxy.
Yes,
Mario
yes.
Galaxy 2. But I ended up liking the snake because you get bullet time with that, and it's got some cool stuff that it can do. But I enjoyed them. I like the fact that, and especially since I went in blind, each one gave me this sense of wonder.
Yes.
And kind of a, oh, I didn't know I could do that, and just it's and the ostrich. How can I forget the ostrich?
That's Mr. Banana's favorite, is the ostrich.
Yeah. The
Ostrich
a
is
good one.
nightmare fuel.
Yeah, especially because he can lay eggs.
Yeah,
Floating
it's,
eggs.
it's all over the place there. The elephant's like OP. You
Yeah,
know, I will say that. And you are correct that the zebra song gets stuck in your head. You know,
Yeah.
because it's got the catchy hook of just blurting
saying
zebra
zebra.
loudly. Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
You know?
Oh man, yeah. I remember before we get to you, Carl. I remember when you said like you were playing the game and you texted, you're like, the ostrich power up is pure nightmare fuel, and I just like lost it because I had already gotten to that point, and I'm like, I understand where he's coming from, but that just killed me when you said that. It was just too funny.
It was weird.
The Kong Bananza having butt cheeks is kind of nightmare fuel too.
yeah, that was.
That's the best part about it. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Well, I posted that over on the Gronka Discord, and like Mazza was freaking out, like, no wonder this guy's off for Donkey Kong. He's got butt cheeks.
Yeah.
He was just
Now I-
upset because they took it off shelves in Australia because of that scene.
I just realized that Mazza just kind of sounds like Judi Dench, like an angry Judi Dench.
Oh boy.
No, he sounds like Australian Andy Milonakis. We've already established this.
No,
All right, I'm going to pull up the images on screen while we talk about them, just so that people have a frame of reference here. So,
Yeah.
yes.
Hold on, let me get out my glasses so I can see these.
you know what would have made him absolute nightmare fuel is if with the sonar he was actually clapping his cheeks.
Oh, that'd be great.
Yeah, dude.
It's like that Metal Gear meme where he's like, "I can't. I'm dummy thick."
Oh God.
Oh no! Stop! Please stop. All right, yeah. So, obviously, this is the first one that they showed off in all the promo, and none of us knew like where they were gonna go with this, other than just like Super Kong mode, great ape mode
Yeah.
for the Dragon Ball fans out there.
I like it. I like this design a lot.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's very good. A lot of fun to use.
Hold
Yeah.
on a second. Nintendo, why aren't you making these amiibos? What are you doing? You
Yeah.
already messed up with the
Please.
Princess Peach ones. Come
Please,
on.
I'm already tapped dry.
Yeah. I'm tired, boss. I'm tired.
You know what my first impression playing as that Kong was though?
What?
It reminded me of a game that I really enjoyed in the original Xbox called Hulk Ultimate Destruction.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go.
And I was
Okay.
like, when I got that,
Prototypes.
yeah,
Yeah. Somebody, I think when this first came out, maybe within the first couple of weeks, that's what people were comparing this game to, was Ultimate Destruction. And
I could
I've
see
never
it.
played it, so I didn't know, but that's interesting.
Well, you gotta add that to your I gotta get eventually collection.
Yeah. What platform was that on for?
Everything.
what's up? Yeah,
Everything?
GameCube,
Okay.
PS2,
PS2, Xbox. Yeah.
It's a pretty common game too, but the
Yeah, it's not
Xbox
that
one's the
expensive.
best.
All right, cool. We got the zebra transformation here with I like that. I think it looks really good too. The
AJ, are you still in the chat? Was this one that made you irrationally upset for some reason? If I recall.
No, it was actually no, it was all of them because he doesn't like the whole.
Oh yeah, that's right. He was.
He doesn't like the whole banana like hairstyle that's going on with them. That's what made him irrationally upset.
Yeah, he was just irrationally upset listening to him break down this. And I'm like, what is going on here?
Yeah. Yeah. Here's the ostrich one. Now,
Nightmare.
I want to give this to Zero because I know he would understand this reference. Can you explain to people why these characters, animal characters, are kind of like significant to the DK games? Or
Well,
do you?
because
Oh, go ahead.
in the
Sorry.
past they were all like kind of support characters
Yes.
for the most part. Um,
Hey, didn't you ride an ostrich in one game, right? For a level?
Yes.
Yeah, in the first game, I can't remember where there was a snake. You do see some of the other support characters, and oh god, trying to remember the rhino's name. You don't get a rhino power up. I was hoping you would.
Oh,
'cause
I wish
the
you
rhino-
would've.
Ramby, right? Ramby.
Ramby.
Yeah.
Ramby,
Yeah.
and there was a swordfish. As well.
I don't remember his name either. Yeah.
That would have been cool.
Well,
Everybody loves the swordfish because of Aquatic Ambience is like one of the best DK songs.
Yeah,
yes.
why couldn't we become a rhino? Why do we have to be a zebra?
I mean, because it would be kind of weird that the Rhino is like a kind of like a important partner to DK, and for him to transform into it, it just would have been a bit odd, considering that he already has the Rhino, and obviously like later on in the game you see it, but it's used for a different purpose, right? So
Yeah.
this just kind of gave more of a spotlight on the other characters that you see in the other DK games, like you said, the companions and whatnot. And I don't know about you, Zero. When I was playing through it, because after the zebra, I was like, okay, so it looks like they're referencing the Donkey Kong Country support animals. And I was kind of guessing, like my wife was watching me play. I was guessing with her. I was like, I wonder what other characters they're gonna use because I was trying to think of like the spider. That's like one of the characters. I'm
Yeah.
like, that'd be kind of odd if
There's
they
a
threw that in
frog.
there. Yeah, the frog too.
Yeah.
So it's kind of cool, like guessing as you're playing the game, like who are they gonna throw on here as like a transformation. And the last one, I did not really expect the snake because I was like, how are they gonna pull off the character design for this? And they seem to have done a decent job with the snake transformation. So yeah. Anyways, I don't know if I know you didn't really realize this, Mr. Banana, but like, what were your thoughts about the selections besides like, like you said, the zebra transformation instead of the rhino? Mueller, muted. Oh,
You said zero, right?
I said you, Mr. Banana.
Oh, I thought you said zero. Sorry.
No.
Could you repeat the question? Sorry.
Did you, because you didn't play the Donkey Kong Country games, you didn't realize that these were kind of like the support animals from the other games? Like, what were your thoughts, I guess, of like the selection of these animals? I know you said that like, why didn't they choose the rhino? But like overall,
Oh, I had no idea about any of this lore. I'm gonna save you a lot of breath there,
okay,
so you don't have to worry about talking that much. I was like, oh, it's just Nintendo picking random animals. That's all I could think.
okay. So more for the deep cut for those of us that like played the other games and
Like
yeah.
I understand the references. Like when you point them out to me, it's like, oh, I understand it. Like now that you point this all out, like I remember the ostrich and stuff like that. I'm aware of the lore, but I'm basically like the kid who listens to the people read in class, but I don't read myself, and then I just answer the questions from what I remember.
That sounds about right.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, so that's an interesting point that you brought up, Zero, about how it would have been cool if you go back to older levels that you can find the I almost said power bananas, the banandiums, like with those new power-ups, like almost Metroidvania style. Because DK64 kind of did that with the different Kong characters. But like you said, it would have made the game even longer, and I don't know if people would have been too happy with that.
Yeah, and that's the thing is there is one area that has you backtrack, and that's when you go back to England Island after there is a lot of post game content in this,
Yeah.
but not in the way that you really think. Like you go to England Island and then you do some challenges, and when you're in England Island, they want you to take advantage of all the forms, and then you'll return back to the elders and use them. But yeah, I would have liked some of the, and again, I haven't even sunk my teeth into the DLC. I don't know how extensive it is and what all you actually do, save for the fact it gives you a new area. But I do think it would have been interesting if you had to get abilities and there were some things you had to return to some of the layers and some of the sub layers to do with the Bonanza abilities.
Yeah.
Granted, it's kind of interesting as you go down, like the Feast Lair is one that I can think of where it really wants you to utilize a lot of like the zebra to run on some surfaces and the elephant to suck up a lot of the stuff that's in the Feast Lair, particularly like the slime and the salt, or the salt to use against the slime.
Yep.
So as you progress, you need those abilities, but I mean, I like I said, I was cool with it because it made digesting the game, I guess is a good way of putting it, easy, and it was like satisfying to go into an area and know, okay, I can 100% this.
To cap off the Bonanza stuff, the power up, I want to just talk about the elders here, partially to trigger AJ with the design of them, but also like just to talk about them, and also kind of jump into the musical aspect of this game. So Mr. Banana, Carl, what did you think about how like the music was incorporated in this game with the whole like DJ type theme and the singing theme and all that stuff with these elders with the mad tunes or whatever they would say?
I liked it. I like them a lot. I like their art style. I like how they're all like ancient, old, and rocking out, saying like, "Come on, y'all, let's break down some beats and get this going."
Yeah,
You know?
wearing some nice kicks and everything.
Yeah, I was like, I get the vibe here. It's a whole thing. I do like how they have bananas all over them. Like this guy right here with his tusks are bananas.
Yes.
Like I said, it's one of those times where you kind of like go back in the day. I think of games like Brave Fencer Musashi and stuff like that, where they kind of were just having fun, like with the puns and the art designs and all that stuff like that. Old Saturday morning cartoon vibes. And that's what this gave me. It gave me more of a, kind of updated millennial / Zoomer kind of Saturday morning cartoon.
That makes sense.
That's why I enjoyed it a lot more, because I can appreciate. I know AJ's in the chat saying stuff, but I also know AJ also was irrationally upset about it.
Yeah, that triggered him so hard hearing about that. Zero. So, like, what about you? Like, meeting these different elders and interacting with them. Of course, the whole Pauline stuff with like, she's kind of growing throughout the game and the singing and whatnot. Like, how was that for you?
I mean, the elders were interesting. I was kind of curious, like where they fit into things, but they ended up just being new characters. I didn't know whether they were gonna fit into the Donkey Kong lore a little bit more. They're brand new, because there are some hints. Like again, now that we're in full on spoiler territory. Like Pauline keeps mentioning her grandmother, and we know Cranky Kong is the original Donkey Kong. And in this game, they established that this takes place after Donkey Kong. I believe this takes place after Tropical Freeze. It's like Donkey Kong Country Trilogy's already happened. All those characters are there and established. And, the Kremlings are gone. So this has to take place after Tropical Freeze because there's no Kremlings in Tropical Freeze.
Yep.
That I remember. So I'm wondering if there was another... If Jumpman is a separate character. Because, again, this takes place before Mario Odyssey.
Yes.
And we're getting into some zany Zelda timeline stuff. Because, like, for these games, I don't really hold the timeline to, like, anything of being sacred. I just want fun games.
Right.
Is there any timeline in this stuff? I could never tell. With
There's a great video out there called, like, The Great Ape War that goes into the timeline of the Donkey Kong games. Oh yeah, no, there's a whole like theory about there was a great ape war. I'm not lying, like this is real. Cause
no, I get it. It's just it reminds me of like the Pokemon theory videos. There was a Pokemon war. That's why you don't see as many men.
Yeah, I think I've heard of that too. Yeah, so there is like a soft timeline that the fans have created, but Nintendo has never really acknowledged it because they don't care about stuff like that. They just want to make fun games, like Zero said, and that's the point of these Nintendo games. So they're supposed to be for fun. You enjoy them in the moment, and you don't need to worry about like how it connects to the next. With the exception of like DK Country 1 through 3 or like Returns to Tropical Freeze. So. Yeah.
It's like Star Wars. You can pick your own timelines. There you
Oh my goodness. Yes, that's very true. Very similar.
go.
My bad, Zero. If you had anything more you wanted to add to that.
Oh, yeah, I'm just kind of curious, like where they fit in. I feel like they're kind of mysterious characters, like they exist and they have their own little, again, this whole subterranean sublayer element to Donkey Kong is new. The whole Hollow Earth thing in the Mario universe is new. And I'm curious, and I would really like it if the next Mario Odyssey, if they do another Mario Odyssey, kind of has Mario doing a similar thing with this whole Hollow Earth thing. I mean, they did Mario Galaxy, but it would be cool if maybe he's in like New Donk City and they use the warp pipes to get him down there. I don't know. I just the elders kind of just they're neat additions, but they didn't really have a huge impact. But they did open up a lot of possibilities for like where the franchises could go and potentially intertwine. I mean, heck, they could, if they really wanted to, they could do like a game where you switch between Mario and Donkey Kong. I think that would be really cool when you just traverse differently.
Oh yeah, that would be wild if that was the game. Like doing like yeah, like you said, switcheroo, having both characters there, and they have completely different play styles.
And
Holy
Bowser
cow.
and King K. Rool could team up.
Yeah. Now, do you think the art style would clash between the
No.
the two games?
No, I think that's why they redesigned Donkey Kong.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people are throwing shade at Illumination, but Nintendo is so hands-on with what they do that this was definitely a Nintendo thing because Rare's art style is so distinct, and I think they geared this up because they want Donkey Kong to be more involved with the Mario universe.
Well, they
Hmm.
also added him into like the theme parks as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
But they're using
You
it's
know,
weird they're using the Rare design for the theme parks though.
Well, yeah, because that's what they had.
Yeah, I think that'll probably get swapped out in the next couple of years, especially after the next movie.
Yeah, it definitely will get phased out and replaced eventually.
Yeah.
I know some people really don't like this new design. I don't have an issue
Well,
with it.
I'll tell you, I'm an old man. Back in
You
the
are.
'90s, people had an issue with the Rare redesign of Donkey Kong.
I believe it. I definitely
Like,
believe that.
I can't remember if it was GamePro or EGM, but people didn't like his eyes and his teeth, like the big grin, like.
That's funny.
But
No, when I watched the cartoon, he had very seductive eyes, so they were just missing
Yes,
out.
very very nice lips too.
I'll say this. Well, Mario's designs have been subtle. Redesigns have been subtle. They've been there, but I think Donkey Kong has probably had the most, I guess, distinct redesigns out of any Nintendo character. I mean, like the original Jumpman art is what it is. He looks very like Italian stereotypy. And then by the late '80s, mid late '80s, the Mario we know was kind of established, and he hasn't changed much, even though there have been changes in the way he's been drawn. But yeah, like the original Donkey Kong design, like look at the Donkey Kong plushes; those were nightmare fuel.
I don't
You
know
know.
the way you phrased that at first. I thought you were like talking about a Donkey Kong looking like a stereotypical Italian.
Oh no! Like
That's
the
what it
old,
sounded like at first. You know?
no, like
Oh, no.
the old art for Jumpman, like when you had
know.
him and the like back when like Coleco and Atari were still like allowed to have the games.
Yeah.
So
I
I just thought it was funny the way you were. It started off. That's all.
so I'm trying to like see if I can pull up some references here, but I'm just gonna have to roll into it. So the oh my goodness, what did we start this? What did I throw this to you? We talked about the power ups, and then after the DJs and the musics and stuff. So I want to go into
Yes.
specifically the whole Pauline story and like what they did with it. And obviously like the connection with DK and everything. So we could talk about like the timeline, Zero and all that stuff. But focusing on Bonanza, So obviously, like she comes into the game, she was turned into a rock by the Void Crew, and then like she gets breaking out of that through the power of singing, which is very like Disney. So I don't know why AJ would not be all for that because it's a very Disney thing to do that, and the after that, her interaction with DK, I always thought it was weird, and it makes sense because they're animals. That the only like human voices you hear is the girl, Pauline, and that's it. Like all the animals, she understands all the animals somehow. I thought that was a bit odd. I wish that was kind of done a bit differently, unless you have an explanation for it, and either one of you. But it was just odd for me. Like
I
that.
just found that as a Nintendo thing.
Okay, yeah, I guess you could chalk it up to that. Um,
I was just happy to have someone speak English and kind of guide me through their silly nonsense. That was what I
yeah,
liked.
Yeah. I also think they did it so they only had to hire like really one voice actor if you think about it,
that's
because
true.
everybody speaks gibberish except for Pauline, and I didn't check to see if Pauline had multiple credits across multiple languages, but I'd wager that in like all of the other language versions that the elders and the apes all sound the way they do. Say for keywords, they do say keywords. Like it's not like a rare thing where they're like, or kind of like what they've been doing in some of the recent Zelda games where they're just literally speaking gibberish. Like you'll hear them say Void King or
Yes.
DK. So I feel like they just it was probably cost effective is what it was.
Right. No, no, that makes sense. And honestly, it's kind of interesting because if you think about it in a real world scenario, even if you ignore the fact that somehow she can speak to animals, it kind of makes it feel more a tad more realistic as far as like, okay, we can see it through her eyes with the characters talking or whatever.
Wait,
and-
that's the part that confuses you. She can speak to the animals.
yes, that's the
Not
only thing that
random
confuses.
transformations
No,
or
none of that.
anything else like that. No,
None
no,
of that
no.
doesn't. Nope, none of that doesn't confuse me. Yeah. I'm looking at the credits right now, and I'll pull it up on screen. And Pauline has different voice credits for across the different languages. Let me just pull this up for you. Oh, wrong one. Hold on a second. So yeah,
Let me get out my glasses so I can read that.
my bad. I'll full screen this. Full screen it. All right, there we go. Yeah, so she's got English, Japanese, French, Italian, German, Spanish, or European Spanish, excuse me, Dutch, Russian, Korean, Chinese, Latin American Spanish, and Brazilian Portuguese.
Wow,
and
they have Russian language in here. That's weird.
I gotta cover those Cyrillics, right? And then yeah, there we have like just the rest of the characters here are all done by the same people across all the games there, or all the versions of the game, I should say. So yeah, like you said, cost effective. But I mean, at the end of the day, it's animals talking, right? I mean, there's not like you don't need to go. It would have been cool to. I don't know. I guess it would have been weird first to see DK talk outside of the TV show, but
you
yeah.
want him talking banana puns the entire time?
I want to hear him say "banana slamma." That's what I wanted to hear him say.
About to banana slammer them, Pauline. Hold on tight there.
uh, so going back to Pauline and the whole story, I really enjoyed the kind of like story arc she went through, like gaining confidence, and DK is there just to kind of like be a support like friend to her, like this like kind of like new friend through it, and just his interactions with her, and like seeing how she kind of grows up in this game and gets like her
Yeah.
confidence to the end of this game.
Mhm.
I thought the storytelling was really well done, especially in the final act of this game, like just how like serious it kind of got, especially with like the Void Crew, and then the final enemy of the game. But I don't know, like, did you guys like a lot of DK's expressions in this game and how goofy it was? Because I was kind of just dying laughing, just like how goofy he is, and like his like my wife was also dying laughing. Like there was like a serious moment with Pauline, and then like DK just does like this grunt. He's like, "Huh?" Like just confused with this like dumb look on his face, and she just like bursted out laughing because of how serious the moment was. And then like he acted like that. I don't know if you guys had like issues with that or if you thought it was charming or whatever, but anyway, either one of you can say something about it. But
Zero, you go first.
Well, I love the way that he like definitely anytime there was a banana, the heart eye, like the bananas in his eyes got me, and just when he was falling, so whoever did the facial animations did a bang up job. Like he says everything he needs to say without actually having to utter a line, and I think that came across. It was like one of the things that I loved about Astrobot last year was just how expressive they made the characters and how great the animations were, and that was just something I really picked up in this game. And I love seeing that in games because it's just making them look more. It makes the games look and feel more like a cartoon you can actually play or like immersed in it. But it does so in a way like in old school games where you're not taken out of the experience. You're not meant to watch long cutscenes. Like you're in it and you feel like you're part of a story. And I think so much is conveyed through animation. And I felt that was like one of the reasons why I couldn't put the game down because I was just so immersed in it and having a great time watching it and seeing all of it in real time. And
Yeah.
other things too is like the what are they called, Tektites?
Tectones, right? Yeah.
Tectones, yeah. Like they even had great animations too, and they kind of felt like I guess rejected Rare characters. And
Yeah, they did.
I loved smacking them just to see like the
Yes.
little animations for how they would like rebuild themselves because it almost looked like stop motion.
Oh yes. I I
So,
like taking out my frustration on them.
Yeah.
What about you, Carl? With I guess DK's animation and his expressions.
DK has that. What's the correct term that we're looking for? Anamorphic? Is that the word I'm thinking of here? Where they give.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, even you can't say it.
Yes.
But it's like when, like the meaning is like when they put the humanistic traits onto animals.
Yes.
They did a really good job with that. With DK, like I said, he's like that perfect. The best way I could say is like the old school silent actors, I guess you could say,
Hmm.
where they can like really have to emphasize like their body language, their facial movements and stuff. And like what Zero said, really good job with the facial animations, like getting the point across. And how can I say this? DK, I would like to say, he's a giant gorilla, you know. So he's not supposed to be like an academic or something like that. He's not Gorilla Grodd from like trying to fight Superman or something. Like he is supposed to be more of the like all shucks kind of guy, like the more lovable, like kind of goofy guy. So it does help that you have like that happy-go-lucky attitude, and you're kind of telling a story about basically overcoming being afraid and worried about stuff. So it does help when someone like Paulina, like I think, break out her expressions more, especially like the
Yeah, there's the banana
end
face.
end of the like how can I say it's like at the end of every like major level, and you kind of like break everything down, and then you do like your little end dance at the end there. Like all this stuff is fun, man.
Yes.
I also love when she lands on DK and the pained expression he makes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah, yeah. Oh, that's right. Twice. I think it happens twice on his back, right? And he's like
Yeah.
screaming. Yeah. I like there's yeah, like this one right here. Like these are like the eyes. It's all with the eyes, like how they animate the
Yeah.
eyes and stuff. It's so good. Oh man, yeah. It was masterclass in some great animation or facial animations here. So yeah, this one right
Yeah,
here,
and I think
scared of
that's
above. Yeah.
I think that's why they also did like a lot of black around his eyes too, is just to help them pop out more and express themselves a lot better.
Well, it's very much like a mashup almost of the arcade art and what Rare did, and I do really enjoy that. That it's a good middle ground between the classic Nintendo design, but still not abandoning the aesthetics of his Rare redesign that has been around for nearly 30 years.
Yep. Speaking of his design, so what'd you guys think about the fact that you can customize the fur and his outfit as well, and the tie? I that was clearly ripped from Odyssey with the whole like perks and stuff. But the outfit changed. Excuse me, the outfit changed. I thought that was kind of cool. I didn't mind that was ripped from it because they did it in like their own unique way, especially with Pauline. Like you could change her outfit. Um,
Yeah.
I liked it a lot. I know like Zero 100% of the game, so he has like
Yep.
all of the outfits and stuff. But I did like being able to for me at least, like target like I want to go get this dye for my hair, which I thought was cool that they did it as dye, like it's hair dye instead of like whatever else they could have done. And then with the different ties, and like they have different perks to them. Yeah.
I
Oh, go
will
ahead.
say I'm gonna ruin something for you guys, but the changing room music totally sounds like 70s porno music.
I need to go and listen to that now because I'm not really familiar with that, but that is pretty funny.
If you listen to a thing called 8-track pornos, you would know.
Yeah.
All right, well I got some homework then. I thought it was cool. I didn't like how when he goes to open the wardrobe, you can't see his expression because it's like the wardrobe's in the way. I wish there was a way I can capture that because it always looks like he's like very like over dramatic when he's opening the wardrobe up. I wanted to see that expression, but go ahead there, Mr. Banana.
Yeah. Like I said, I once I could get like the silver, fur. I got that. I know some of them gave you a little bit of bonuses as well too, so it was kind of nice to try to find some that actually worked with you.
Yep.
But I don't know. Besides that, I didn't really care. I got once I got my like one color, I was like, that's what I wanted, and I just rocked with that one. Because I didn't want to run around with like a hot pink, gorilla running around everywhere.
Yep.
It's like no offense. It's just like that wasn't for me. But it's just like you found your color. Then after you got some more like clothing options, and then they gave you some bonuses. Yeah, sure, you did those. And Paulina's outfits got you some bonuses as well. But I don't know. After a while, it just became like I would just ask my wife like, how would you want to dress up Paulina? And she's like, oh, that's cute. And then we just rock with that.
That's I did the same thing. I just when it came to her outfits, I just asked the wife. I was like, "Hey, what do you want?" And then she said, "Oh, that's cute" or whatever. And then it's kind of funny. Just we had the same experience there doing that. But I guess yeah, you're not a fan of playing dress up. That's a shame. We should shame you for that, Mr. Banana.
I mean, like I said, there's not too much else that you could do. It's just like it's like a tie and like pants every now and then. But I didn't want to wear pants. I'm like, I'm a gorilla, man.
By
I
the
like
way,
the tie. We'll keep the tie, and that's it.
I love how they classified this as naked.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of funny.
And then like the flavor text for it is even better because it says like let me get to it. It said where is it? Basically like hold on a second. It was really funny, the flavor text for it. Yeah, there's a lot of these furs I have not seen yet, so I don't care if I'm spoiled by it, but yeah, as the day you were born, and that's nothing to be ashamed of for it. So I thought that was awesome. I don't mind. I know people were complaining about the color of his fur, like the basic one, that it's a bit too orange. I thought it was fine. It helped stood out. The game is a very colorful game, so if he's rocking that like brown, like the hair color brown, it might have not like. I don't know. Is that an actual dye? Did they have that in their Zero, the original color?
Well, yeah, you get that by default. The original color. That's the original color. I think the reason why is I'm not sure, and I don't really care to watch Digital Foundry. I'm not going to get into that here.
Yeah.
But I hate those guys. I feel like the game uses some sort of global illumination. So like when you're in that dressing room, I think it's actually I don't think the game uses ray tracing at all, but I think that the yellow is reflecting onto the fur. Because there are definitely some of and you can go into some environments and you can see what appears to be global illumination where he's kind of picking up the colors of the surrounding environment. So I think that changing room definitely does look different than when you get into the actual game environment, and you can definitely see that when you get the gold hair dye.
Yeah.
Because like it doesn't really look like it's gold when you're in certain areas. But yeah, I thought it looked fine. There's also a thing on the Switch too. as well, where God, for a lot of people, the HDR functionality is kind of chalked, and you have to go in and really calibrate it.
Yes.
And if you don't have HGig on your HDR settings, you might not get an accurate picture, which is an issue for some people. So, yeah, but I say all that. I go off on that tangent to say the normal color looked fine to me.
Okay. Yeah, I was fine with it. Like I had like no issues. I even saw that the designer, the original designer for the rare DK, really liked this design of DK, and yeah, he was like trying to I guess calm the crowds, the angry mob. So
Yeah.
uh,
Well,
yeah,
people just don't like change, and that's just I think something we all have to realize
yeah.
is a yeah.
I like how at least for these first two, the leaf green and the aqua blue, these remind me of the DK64 multiplayer colors, as well as like the Smash Brother alternate colors for DK. I like how, like, that's what I first saw when I got these. But yeah, I mean, it was cool, like these different colors and whatnot, especially some of them that are a bit more reflective. Like you said, you think that they use like global illumination. If I can get to
Yeah.
a certain example, like this one, shiny magenta. Yeah, you could definitely see that there's some reflection happening here, and
Well, yeah, it's reflective, but when you actually go out in the environment, you'll see it. Like if you're in an area with green, like a lot of grass, I felt like I noticed, um, you could see green reflections on the fur.
oh, interesting. Okay, I'll have to pay attention for that then. Yeah, and then sorry, going to Pauline and all of her cute outfits, of course, and just like the kind of some really good perks you get from them as well. Um, yeah, it was. I'm just still kind of blown away that like Pauline, like this is what they did with Pauline, and because for us that played Mario Odyssey and then of course like the original DK game, just seeing like they decided to go with like kind of like an origin story with her, and seeing how it connects to Mario Odyssey later on. I thought it's just really, I like it. I like when they do stuff like this. It kind of makes sense, and it's also just a fun experience to like to see it, to play through it. So
Yeah.
yeah. Anyways, yeah, this is all cool and stuff. I wanted to move to the levels, the different layers actually. Now, I did not watch the second, not direct, but like the whatever they did. Like they did another promo for this game before it came out. It was kind of like explaining the game. I didn't watch it. Did they talk about the sublayer system in that one? If either of you guys watched it.
I don't think they went into detail, and I recall it being a whole Donkey Kong Direct. 'Cause I'm pretty sure I covered it with the guys on Gronking. I mean, so much is. I mean, you guys know how my summer has been. But
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure they did one. Now, I don't think they explicitly said or established them as sublayers, but they did kind of establish that they were doing a hollow Earth, and you were going to go down into the Earth. Because that was like where they revealed, Pauline.
Yeah.
But they didn't really say much about what you'd find. They left a lot of that to be ambiguous, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I just going off of the initial reveal of it, I didn't think like we would be digging down to the core. I don't know why. I just wasn't thinking like that. And so when it started, I was like, "Oh, this is what we're doing. This is really interesting." And like, obviously like how far are we going? How many sub layers is it? And that was like as you're progressing through it, I was like, "Oh, there's like a lot of this. Like we just keep going." It's like the movie Core. Just keep going. So, I'm gonna pull up like a video for the different sub layers. But what about you, Carl? Do you remember anything about the sub layers, or like what was your impression? I guess when you started digging,
I was just having fun with that, you know. Every time I got to beat a new level, it was fun to see like the new interesting worlds that you got to explore.
Yep.
I did like that you eventually ran into Diddy and Trixie Kong. I thought that was very fun. Little shout out there
I
as
thought it
well.
was Dixie, wasn't it?
Dixie.
Oh,
It's
Dixie,
Dixie.
sorry.
Yep. No, you're good.
Uh, hated that level for the writing mechanics, but we can talk about that later. But overall, I just liked how every more progressively it got down, the more darker and weird it got. Um, I think I joked about it before too. It's like the first level is like a little bright and cheery once you get into the planet, and then like the final level is like, am I about to like fight the end boss of like you know Elden Ring? That's what it felt like.
Yeah, I understand that. Yup.
There's like a bunch of like light chains everywhere, and I'm like, where am I?
Yes, yes. Yeah, so the first level you start on in is the lagoon level, and I think everyone I saw when I first saw this opening shot right here, I was like, okay, so I guess we're making fun of Tears of the Kingdom, or at least referencing it, because this is like
Yeah.
clearly Tears of the Kingdom. So I know you got that, Zero. What did you catch that right away, Mr. Banana?
I did, yeah.
Okay. um. Anyways, yeah, it was really funny, but I love the coloring of this game. I think it's really nice, like very bright, very vibrant, and anyways, yeah, the lagoon layer, lots of water, so it's automatically going to get a 7 or 6 out of 10 per IGN's rating system. So too much water, right? Um, yeah, I don't know. Not a whole lot to say here. I like seeing the fact. Okay, actually, let me break this down. So in the layers here, obviously there's destructible stuff and then there's non-destructible stuff, and that's kind of like you could tell because it's like the metal stuff. You can't really punch through metal in this game. So I thought that was kind of nice that there are some elements here you can't punch through. So like you're not like gonna punch through you're not gonna dig through the bedrock like you would in Minecraft and go and then
Yeah, it's got a lot of those limitations that Red Faction had, where it's not infinite.
yeah. All right, and then going from Lagoon, you're gonna have to remind me here. The next one after Lagoon was, I'm trying to blank here.
Rolling something.
Not Forest. It's not Radius. Not Tempest. Canyon. Oh, Canyon. Was it Canyon? I think it was Canyon, wasn't it? Pretty sure it was Canyon.
I thought it was a hill one.
Oh, Hilltop. Yeah, that was like the because they had like some intermission layers here, which is kind of interesting. So
Yeah.
like there wasn't like a whole lot to do. It was more for just like exploring and collecting the gold, which I thought was funny. I never had an issue collecting gold in this game. Never ran out of
I
it.
didn't either. And there are some intermission layers. I wouldn't necessarily say Hilltop was an intermission. I mean, it's definitely less to do than Lagoon, and it's only got one. So you get to certain ones, I guess, that the intermission ones they don't really have multiple layers, but there is a lot more to do in Hilltop. Like when you also get to like the Groove layer and the Forbidden layer and
Yeah.
the like landfill and resort. Like there's a significant amount of things to do. You're just not juggling multiple layers.
Yes. And it was nice that they're all distinct. They're all like different.
Yeah.
And I mean, I like how this has different lighting to it. Well, most of them had different lighting to them, but yeah. Anyways, it felt just every layer felt fresh, like something like different, and it wasn't like boring to run through all of them. So and also, oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say each layer has a new environmental mechanic.
Yes.
So that's a big part of it as well. Like you'll get to certain layers just when you think you've got the game figured out. There are new things in the environment that really impact how you interact with the terrain.
Yes. I really liked how every layer had a different for lack of a better word, like mineral or element or whatever, like material. And like because I was kind of worried after the first two layers. I'm like, I'm hitting kind of like the same stuff. Are we gonna have like different materials that we'll be farming or whatever? And yeah, sure enough, when you get to some of the later layers, there's like a lot of different like things that you can destroy and whatnot. So I thought that was really cool. What did you think about that there, Carl? Like all of these different layers having kind of like unique material and that you can farm and everything.
I did like how they kept changing the fossils every level.
Yes, yeah, yeah,
I did think that was a little bit of subtle lore building. But overall, I think it was just fun to explore the different mechanics of each level.
You know what threw me off a little bit though? Speaking of the fossils,
what's up?
What?
is that the fossils are only usable in the lair that you're in. So the fossils act as currency for the costumes for anybody that hasn't played the game. So if you get to a lair and you're like, oh, I want to hang on to these fossils so I can, potentially unlock, some of the outfits in the next lair. So as soon as I get into it, I can buy the useful ones. No, you cannot.
Yeah,
Yeah, that did catch me off guard at first too. And but it's mostly just like cosmetic stuff too. After a
Yeah.
certain point in time, so then after a while I just stopped caring.
Well, I will say like each layer, like Pauline's outfits for anybody that's going into it, Pauline's outfits are typically the most. Well, I can't say they're the most. The ties are the most useless thing that you can get because really the first tie that you get, the treasure tie, is the one that's like probably the most useful because when you have that, you'll unlock chests as you're digging, and they'll just start throwing maps at you for the
yes,
fossils and for the bananium gems. So I really rock with the treasure tie the bulk of the game. Um, but depending on where you're at, like there are some that will reduce poison damage or damage from spikes, and when you start, I don't want to say the game's a grind fest, but like your skill tree in this game really matters.
yes,
So getting some stuff that will help you, be defensive, and those thorns are God, the thorns were a thorn
annoying.
in my side.
Yeah, literally. Yep.
Yeah, yeah, because the hitboxes on them are pretty big, so you just graze them and you'll lose like heart and a half. And if you don't have the hearts, so like some of the cosmetics for DK and Pauline really do matter, but the ties should be your last. The ties and the dies are the last things you really should prioritize.
Yes. I don't remember which tie it was, but there was one that allowed you to get more of your Banandium power. And I remember using that with the elephant because it kind of comboed really well. So you can basically have like infinite power with the elephant, especially if you rank up the elephant and whatnot. So like his skill tree. Yeah, the skill tree was just crazy. I was like, oh, we got a skill tree in a
Yeah.
Donkey Kong game, so that was really
I think
cool.
there's also the sopping tie, which allowed you to kind of, because it was a wet tie, and that allowed you to like walk on lava.
Oh, that's cool. Okay, that is a very cool
Yeah.
mechanic. Yeah, I just
like it was just fun with just trying to find those little combos, but like AC said, it's fun that they had like a skill tree. I thought that was the best part, but this whole like costume system and stuff, it feels how do I say it? They could have done that better. That's my one
Yeah.
gripe, I guess you could say. It just felt like it didn't really matter because one thing I kind of wanted to, I guess, kind of address a little bit right now is just what was the difficulty like with you guys in this game? Because I never felt like I was being
oh boy, yeah,
challenged.
you ready for this? Go ahead,
Yeah,
Zero.
I agree with Carl on this 100%. I didn't feel like I was being challenged until the end.
Yes.
And that's one of my major gripes about the game. And I didn't think it was boring, but at the same time, I breezed through the bosses. I breezed through a lot of the platforming. There are some that like especially like when you're dealing with like spikes and some of the challenges that you get. There was one of the destruction ones early on, or not early on, but in the feast layer that like kind of like tested my metal because you have to be perfect with it.
Yep.
And I was like, oh, well, that's cool. That there's a pretty good challenge right there. But then when you get to the post game stuff, it's just like it ramps up, like it goes on overdrive. And I was like, I would have liked a gradual increase in difficulty of the game, like. And I feel like for younger players, when they get to that with the actual final boss fights, they are going to be SOL because it just literally comes out of nowhere. Like
Yeah.
to go back to Astrobot, Astrobot does a really good job of ramping up its challenges and difficulty and preparing you for like what's to come. And I will say, like, the final battle in Astrobot, while challenging, it's not the most challenge. Like, anybody could beat Astrobot,
Yeah,
but
you're right.
I feel like with this game, there's going to be a lot of players young and those that just maybe 3D platformers just aren't really their jam. They're going to get to that final section of the game, and they're going to be like, "This is brutal. What did I get into?"
I felt like for me, the last boss in this game felt like the last boss in Doom Eternal. I was just doing a lot of running around more
Yeah.
than
Yes.
like, actually just standing and fighting.
Yep.
Which
It
is-
also takes a while to figure out the mechanic. of
Yes.
hitting the cannonballs back at him.
Yep.
I didn't have an issue with that. I kind of figured that out pretty quickly. But like you said though, in like the first, who are the two villains in here? It's what?
Yeah,
what are they
Void
called?
Kong.
Three.
Or yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, Void Kong, Grumpy, and oh god, I just had her name.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's the one I'm forgetting right now.
Yeah.
Oh, start with a P. Poppy Kong.
Yeah.
Poppy. There you go.
Yep.
So like the first dude, you know, he didn't have any. I didn't have any issues with him. Poppy, I was Ike Turner and she was Tina Turner. I just was running through her, so that wasn't a problem at all. But you know, like I was like, after a certain point in time, I was like, am I just playing on like a really easy mode? Because I'm like, geez, you know, I just felt like I was just blowing through these bosses like without any issues, and a lot of people were just like, yeah, you know. I know Nerd Takes in the chat, he was saying that he thought it was pretty easy, and I know you said that too, Zero. I never really heard that from you, AC, though, about like the difficulty, believe it or not. Like, you never made note of it, so I didn't know if you noticed it or if you just were like geeking out with all like the fun times that you just didn't think about it.
Oh no, I noticed it about halfway through the game. I was like, I am flying through this game way quicker than I thought I would, especially with the boss fights.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't like. I guess because like for example, the one boss fight, when you fight Grumpy Kong and you have to basically destroy his little like creation by using explosives or whatever. Once I figured
Yeah.
that out, like it really came down to just like how quickly I can like manipulate the environment and throw things at him to do that. And
Yeah.
I had no issue. But no, when I got to the final Void Kong fight, I had a little bit of difficulty with that because I wasn't paying attention to like his laser attack or like when like walls of like lava were forming or whatever.
Yeah.
But no, that final boss fight, like the specific final boss fight in the like the arena, holy cow! I was like losing my bananas playing that, and my wife's like, "Are you okay? Like, what's going on?" I'm like, "This is like way harder than it should be, considering the rest of the game was a cakewalk. Like, it was a legit
Yeah, I
cakewalk."
know, right?
So no,
And
no,
that,
I
like,
noticed
so,
it. Yeah.
That was funny. Like the final level to get to the final boss fight too. I was just like, this. It felt like the last level of Psychonauts to me, and I was getting PTSD flashbacks. It was like, oh no, is this going to be just as hard? And
Oh no.
annoying?
Yeah, the you gotta basically scramble up stuff while the world is sinking in molten gold, and it's like,
Yeah.
wait, is everybody dead? Like, that's a way to go out there just to get melted alive by gold. Uh,
It was the second worst day in New York history.
yeah. So I just loved a lot of the layers. Just I like the resort layer a lot. I'm a big like beach type person when it comes to video games, so that was really cool running around there and listening to music. And actually, one thing we should focus or talk about is the mini homes you can build across the different layers and how they added like a weird like basically Breath of the Wild Tears of the Kingdom type mechanic with you can have like temporary hearts added when you sleep in those beds, especially if you have the more beds you have, the more hearts you get. What do you think about that there, Carl, with like the whole spending money to build houses and having a butler that you can choose to not tip, like the real American you are, to not tip?
Hey, hold on here. I may be a gypsy, but I do tip. All right, first off here. But I like that a lot. I actually thought that was a very fun mechanic. But after a certain point in time, like I said, because the game was so easy, it's like I went through pretty much every level with like 10 extra hearts. I feel like sometimes just never use the
Yeah.
because I never would get hurt as much and stuff like that. Uh, here's the thing I want to say about this. For like the difficulty stuff that we're talking about, they did such a good job with like the platforming elements in this game. I think where it was like so intuitive and like responsive and fun. Like I feel like it also made it a lot more easy for me in that aspect because like Astrobot has like that weird artificial difficulty I like to call it, where it's like one touch you're dead. So like you're more on edge, and like there were times where I like over panic in Astrobot, and I'll die because I over panicked.
Hmm.
But in something like Donkey Kong, where you can like have that assurance that you're not gonna die with one hit, it makes it a lot more. You can take a lot more risks with stuff and learn the mechanics your way, and kind of do all that stuff too. So like when the boss fights introduced like a new mechanic to me, um, it was more fun to try to figure out that mechanic to like how to do this quickly, and that was
Yeah. I yeah, I get that. I haven't played Astrobot yet. I'm looking forward to playing it, and I did like how this game in particular was a bit more forgiving with like the mess ups. Cause yeah, I mean, there were times where I would like fall down or do something stupid and get hurt. It's like, oh my goodness, like, but you had enough hearts to that point where it was like a bit forgiving, compared to like other 3D Mario titles where you only have like 2 or 3 hits. I went the longest time and forgot to like upgrade my hearts because you can upgrade that in part of the skill tree. So I was like rocking like whatever the original heart count is. I was rocking that for the longest time and just using the temporary hearts. Yeah, 3. Okay. Yeah, I was just going through the most of the game with that, and I completely forgot that you can upgrade the hearts because unless I missed it, I don't remember the game saying that you can keep upgrading those skills because I didn't notice the skills had little tickers on them showing that like, oh, there's more levels to those little skills. Did you notice that, Zero?
Yeah, I did because I accidentally realized that if you press up on the D-pad, you could get into your skill tree at any time.
Oh yeah, yes, yeah. uh, like what did you think about the whole the house mechanic and whatnot, and like being able to have temporary hearts? I like how they added
Yeah,
the DJ station there or whatever, so you can listen to the music you collected.
yeah, I thought that was cool. I was expecting there to be early on. I was expecting there to be a little bit more of a customization element to it, and then it kind of clicked for me. And I also was like, this is a Nintendo game. He only wants 10 gold. There's got to be something to tipping the butler. I did like that you could go to the your little butler at any time and open up all the shops. It
Yes.
definitely helped. It was a time saver because it would have been a big pain in the butt to have to figure out, oh hey, where's the shop on this layer.
Yep.
And then also unlocking the music, through him through tipping. Because I basically just used him exclusively for my shops, for the clothes, for the Bananium gems with the Bananium chips, and then also I would resort to the item shop sometimes if I just didn't feel like pulling up a strategy guide. I tried not to use a strategy guide at all while playing the game.
Yes.
But there were some where I was just like, it's 12:30. My wife's wondering where I am. I gotta get this last banana.
You're living the meme, right? The 3 a.m. meme.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, we all have those ones,
Yes.
My wife's asleep after a long session of Donkey Kong, and I touch my dog, and she goes ah, and of course I wakes up my wife. It's like,
Yeah, because she gets up to go to work at like 4:30. She works at a hospital, so
oh God bless her.
yeah, I know, right? So she's in bed at 9, so I'm like, oh, it's time for me to play video games. And I go down, I'd come up at like 1 in the morning. She's like, where were you? Were you playing your game? I was like, yes, I was.
You're like a child.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Mama
Your
went
dad
to
catching
sleep,
you.
now I can go play.
Yeah.
yeah.
The tipping stuff I didn't do it all the time because I thought it was like a bit annoying. But I guess you do get some perks if you tip a bunch. Is there like a count?
Just records.
Just records? Okay.
I didn't figure it out, but I feel like it's every 5 times you tip him, he gives you a record. But it was a good way to
Interesting.
unlock the records. Because I gotta say,
Oh,
unlocking the
okay.
records is an annoyance because they pop up at random. Now there is, again, if you have the treasure chest tie on, you can get them sometimes to the treasure chest. There is, if you have the amiibo
Yes.
Later in the game, you can use the amiibo to get a costume for Pauline that makes records appear more. But the problem is, if the record falls into something, it's gone.
Yes.
So that's an
Yep.
annoyance. But I did when I 100%ed it, I unlocked all the music too. I got everything,
That's
everything.
awesome.
Um, and yeah, that's the big thing for tipping him is just unlocking the music in a more conventional, less random fashion.
Yeah.
Also, too, the
Oh.
teleport system. If you get those bases, if you get build the houses, you can. And I gotta say, every time Pauline says it, she sounds Scottish because she's like, "Can we teleport here?"
That's true, yeah, because the eels are the teleporting creatures. Yeah, yeah.
It's clever, but I'm like, she just put on a Scottish accent for this. Hang on a second.
She might have. Yeah.
Um, that's funny. Now one thing we should talk about too, real quickly, is the little like mini challenges that you find like through the little like portals that you can go through, and like to get the banandiums and whatnot. But in particularly, I only found one of them, but I guess there's more than one. Kind of like the throwback stages that they did, in like honor of like the original Donkey Kong Country game, and I'll pull it up on screen here. But like here's like one of them. So obviously like the first level in DK, or the first Donkey Kong Country. But I found the other one kind of on my own on accident, which was the Bramble level, and the music. Holy cow! I know they remixed it. It was like very cool just to sit there because it essentially sounded like the original track, but just with like modern instruments and modern recording technology, and it was really well handled. Um, I'm sure like other people were losing their minds with these different tracks and the different stages here, but in general, speaking about like some of these challenges, what did you think, Carl, about the kind of like the timed ones? Like there was ones where you had to like destroy a building in like X amount of time. What did you find some of these challenges annoying, or were they pretty basic? The ones that you go through like the portal, right?
I like the destruction challenges. I thought they were all pretty easy though.
Yeah.
But I don't think I've ever failed one. More so like the other ones that I had an issue with per se. That
Ye-
like like the spike thorn ones or anything else. They were all forgiving.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say I felt too much pressure with them.
Okay.
Because how can I say this here? I liked them. They weren't challenging, but they made me feel like I had to do it. Like it gave me a little bit of a rise, you know.
Okay. Um. Yeah. It's crazy that how similar this game is to Odyssey, because they kind of did the same thing with Odyssey with like these you go through these gates and you go to like a different area to do the challenges. But in this game, I think there was like way more of them, and not in a bad way. Just they were a lot of fun to go through, and I like the music in them too. I thought the music was really good, but I had trouble with one of the destructible tower ones, and that was only because um, I don't know. I made like a lot of dumb mistakes on the way, and then once I figured out like the correct path, I was like, okay, I can do this. Anyways, it was cool. Like I like how it kind of broke up the flow of the game, because that was like one of my initial concerns, was like just running around smashing things and then like having to just collect bananas that way instead of like doing some actual challenges. So what about the enemy challenges? Those ones were kind of interesting. Like what were you thinking about that?
The enemy stuff, I like those a little bit more because like they had to like do the unique ways to try to defeat those enemies.
Yes, like quickly
So
too. Yeah.
yeah, so that stuff was fun. And like I said, I do like a good like what how I describe Doom Eternal. I do like a good murder puzzle.
That's funny. Yeah.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah, I one of the boss or excuse me, one of the enemy challenges was interesting because you're basically floating on like breakable material, so you have to be kind of strategic with like if you're gonna throw the material, like making holes for the enemies to fall through and whatnot. So that was kind of cool, like floor is lava type of stuff as well. Um, I also liked the power up challenges. I thought a lot of those were pretty fun, especially because you're like indefinitely in the power up mode. So like it was a bit more it was a lot easier to manage that. So uh, yeah. Sorry, I keep saying the same word. I thought it was just overall the flow of the game was fine. Like just going from destroying the layers to like jumping into these challenge modes and then coming back out and just having a blast with all of that.
Yeah,
It was a good
you
flow.
know what I kind of keep saying to people, and I keep saying this more and more, and every show I can be on. The rise of pick up and put down games has been awesome.
Yep.
Especially now, like they really do feel like they're catering to an audience of they know that their audience is like people between the ages of like 25 to like 40 now. It feels like,
Mhm.
and everyone's having like families or people are doing work and stuff. And with the rise of handheld gaming, especially on Nintendo's end, being the part to like reinvigorate that market, uh, it does feel like when you're playing like Bonanza, that a lot of their levels are designed to like, okay, I'm on lunch break, I got like a half an hour, let me pick up, play it. All right, beat these little challenges, got this little level, big thing done. And then like when you get home from work, you sit down, plug it into your TV, and then you get into the big epic boss fights. I do think that's what's really been showing with a lot of these games lately, and I think Bonanza did a good job with that as well.
Yeah, I definitely agree with the fact that you can easily pick up and play this game and like not like forget what you're doing or whatever. Like there's just so much to do and um it's just it's perfect for a handheld. I didn't play it in handheld. I only played it on TV because I wanted to get the full HDR experience as best as I could with the setup I have in. But no, like just pick up and play for an hour, put it away, and then you can move on to something else. Um it was perfect. Like just perfect for that. So yeah. Besides that, trying to think about what else about the game in particular we
Oh
should
yeah,
hit on.
so you just said you didn't play it in handheld mode at all.
Nope, I only played it. I played the entire game. I know I tried it in handheld mode once just to see how it was, but I played like 99% of the game in TV mode.
So I want to ask this too, since we should bring this up, is performance as well, since we're on the subject here. And I want to ask the chat too for the people who played it. I know Ando 100% did as well in the chat. And I want to know from anyone out there, did you play it at all in handheld mode? Because I would like some more input on this side here too, because I played it exclusively on docked as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I had no issue with the performance, like at all. Like I think maybe a couple times I had chugs, but besides that, it felt like a smooth, solid 60.
I had a lot of performance issues on my end, and I even had screen tearing on my end, which was really weird. I don't know why, and because I try to take screenshots to see like if it's the TV that's causing it or if it was the game that was causing it, but like I would always like miss out on taking the screenshot. But no, I had a lot of performance issues when it came to if you're destroying a ton of things at the same time, it would just like it would chug your frame. Your frames would just get destroyed by it. Especially like
I,
when it came to gold too, because of how explosive the gold was.
okay, when you hit like one of those lava things, I think I might have had maybe slow down, but I didn't have really any issues. I'm being honest about it, and I don't know, like it does feel like maybe I'm just not seeing it as good. Maybe I'm not hyper aware of it as other people. But sometimes, like when I listen to these people talk about performance on things, it's like I think I'm a good, you know, noticer. I think that's the correct term I want to use here when it comes to those things
Yeah.
like performance issues. But when I listen to a lot of people online go like, "Oh, I just had terrible performance with this, that, and the other thing," and I go, I don't, I didn't, and I find that to be weird sometimes. I don't know if it's just because my TV is like also newer too, and it helps compensate for that. Because how old is your TV?
Mine's about 10 years old, maybe older.
Yes, and I think my TV I got in 2022. I want to say
Okay.
like what I know it was uh, post first year of COVID. Um, It was either the first 2021 or 2022 because I got one of those Samsung Neo QLEDs,
Oh, nice. Okay.
and they have like the big integration with Microsoft on that one as well. So I want to say like I bought it around this time of year. So it's like 3 or 4 years old now at this point. Off the top of my head, if I had a good check. And every time I play a game on there, it's like I haven't seen any of like the screen tearing or the frame rate keeping up issues and stuff. Like the refresh rate and stuff has all been like really well done. But when it comes to like the actual hardware, which is the one that actually affects performance, which
Yeah.
we were going to be talking about that too. Like I'm not seeing like the slowdowns or the chugging. Like I'm not saying it was like I didn't notice it because I did have some. Like obviously you can see it some of the time, but everything else for this game, like I thought it ran a very solid, 60 FPS, if not just like the dips were so minor. It's like when you saw like console warriors, it'll be like, well, this game runs at 58 frames and the Xbox version runs at 57, so therefore PlayStation better, or something like that.
Yeah, yeah.
Like
Like
it's
really
one of those
split in
things.
hairs. Yeah, I see.
Yeah, like that, like unless it was like there were such subtle frame dips because like you need your technology to run on your screen, and I'm not doing that.
Yes, yeah. I
So like that's just what I have to say about performance. And like I said, anyone out there in the chat, if you played it in handheld mode, I think I would like to hear it too. But
Yeah.
sorry, go back to you, buddy.
Yeah, chat, let us know, comment too if you're watching the VOD. Because I'm very curious, because when I played it, there was one moment I distinctly remembered. It was in the hilltop layer, so there's not like a lot of enemies. And I remember panning the camera, and all of a sudden, like the game chugged. I was like, what is going on here? Like, all I did was pan the camera, and all of a sudden it's like the assets are loading in and they're all loading in wrong or something because your field of view is changing, and the game like slowed down for no reason. And that also happened in the jungle layer, which jungle like environments are famous for like having a lot of issues because of all the foliage. But I was just kind of like really irritated that the game more than it was. I wouldn't say it was worse than Princess Peach Showtime, but there was an issue where
Nothing can be worse than that.
yeah.
But that and Pokemon. Sorry.
Yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, and Ando was saying it when you're farming chests. Yeah, there were times where you're like farming chests that yeah, it would definitely I could visually see it. But it wasn't, thankfully it wasn't like in boss fights or encounters and stuff where does matter. I didn't have those issues, but the screen tearing was odd. I remember seeing that twice, and I wonder if it was my TV causing that issue and not the game itself. I don't know. I have to. I would have to ask Zero if that's like a TV monitor thing, a display thing, or if that's a game thing that causes screen tearing. But yeah,
I think it could be a little bit of column A, column B. 'Cause it's also because like you said, 10-year-old TV, it could be a little bit of an issue.
yeah. And it sounds like based off of your TV, it sounds like your TV's doing a lot of the work too with the display. Like it's actually I don't know what the proper term is. Like it's decoding the data transmission better from your Switch, so it's and it might be boosting it too, so that's cool.
Yeah.
Then again, I would like to play it in handheld. I wish I can play it on an OLED Switch too, but we don't have that yet because I want to see how good it looks. But yeah. So which might mean I might have to just take the Switch 2 on my upcoming trip just to play BK Bonanza on the go. So
Yeah, there you go.
finish-
It'll be alive for 1 hour.
yeah, finish it up. Yeah, so besides that, no, the game played smoothly. Like it definitely played a lot more smoothly than I was expecting it to be. Just those couple moments were like a bit annoying, but besides that, the boss battles and stuff were fine. There was no issues there. Throwing things around, explosions and whatnot. All of the like the loading of assets and stuff. Oh, actually, my bad. I forgot one issue. Some of the maps, when you're looking through the maps, right? When you're seeing the layer maps, like the menu, right? The map menu, chugged.
Yeah.
Especially that first one.
Really?
Oh yeah, it chugged. Yeah, I noticed
No,
it right
no
off the bat.
kidding.
Yeah.
I-
I'm not pulling any strings here. It definitely did that.
That's interesting. I didn't have that issue at all.
And I'm wondering if that is the TV or if it was just I don't know, man. I don't understand like how you don't have it, but I had it. That is just we're playing on the same brand new console. So
Yeah, I know that's what I'm saying because it does feel like when I listen to these people talk, it's like, well, what are you playing on? What TV are you playing on? TV monitor, stuff like that, input delay, lag, and all that stuff. Like these things like do matter.
yeah.
After a while, I learned a lot during the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One era.
Yep. Yeah.
And go on.
I was gonna say I might try this in handheld mode and see if I get the same issue in handheld mode. But no, like I said, on the hilltop map, the smaller maps like the not hilltop map, the lagoon map chugged. Hilltop didn't chug because it's kind of a smaller sublayer. But some of the bigger sublayers, yeah, I can see like it would not be 60 frames. It would be way less than 60 frames when you're looking around the map.
Yeah, yeah. No, I totally get that.
Um, yeah. So besides that, man, so we talked about like the power up, the story, the characters, the different layers, the sound effects, the music, as well as the performance and whatnot. And I feel like we're getting close to like we've already hit 2 hours, and it's been a great 2 hours so far. But I don't want to keep us here any longer than we need to. So I kind of want to go into kind
Yeah.
of the biggest thing that was really cool about it was the big surprise at the end of the game. And we're already in spoiler territory, so everybody already knows this. And I know some of the people still watching have played this game. So, the big spoiler, the big reveal at the end, was kind of came out of nowhere. Like even though there were hints of it throughout the game if you paid attention, but I don't think anybody really recognized that was going to happen. At least for me, I didn't realize that we're going to get a return of a very famous, very famous enemy from the Donkey Kong Country series. So, what was your reaction when that kind of happened?
As I said before, I'm not the biggest lore dump person, but I know who King K. Rool is.
Yes,
So
we're all
it
Smash
was-
Brothers players.
Well, it's also from a TV show and
Right.
everything too. But I thought that was great. I thought that was like a really nice callback. I liked how they introduced him, and after the like mildly disappointing encounters with Void Kong, it definitely was awesome to just have like real fun boss fights because I thought all like the fights you had with him were amazing.
Yes.
That was awesome. Especially favorite one was the in between boss fight when you're going up to the surface
Oh, yes,
Eh,
yes.
and you had to keep moving around and avoiding stuff. And I thought that one was so fun. And
With the
it was,
music
like,
too.
Yeah, it wasn't like overly tough, but it actually provided a little bit more pushback than I was used to at that point in the game. So I enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah, it was so kind of like building up to this finale when I played a lot of this with the wife watching and just explaining to her some of the Donkey Kong lore as all good husbands do, right? They they spurg out about lore to their significant others and
All the time.
all the time.
And then she just looks at you with those like dead doll eyes, like she's slowly
Yeah.
decaying away.
Yeah, what did I
And
get
she goes,
myself
"That's
into?
nice, dear."
Yes.
You can tell that she's thinking of like someone else at that moment in time.
Yeah.
She's like, it's like, what am I gonna eat tomorrow for?
Yes. Why am I listening to this? Yeah, so I was telling her like I'm very impressed with everything that's coming up to here, and I really don't know what's gonna happen. And I honestly thought fighting Void King or Void Kong, excuse me. I was like, that's it. Okay, cool. We got to the boss. Like, what is this route that we're getting to? And then all of a sudden, he pops out. I'm like, I like almost jumped up from the couch and like screamed because of like how excited I was that this was like a reality that we're in now. That King K. Rool has finally kind of returned to a Donkey Kong game, and this comes from somebody that played Donkey Kong Returns and Tropical Freeze and I know like Zero would definitely echo this, is that those two games they were made by different studios, so they had no obligation to keep the Kremlings in, which is like the Crocodile Gang for those of you who are not familiar, and they had no obligation to keep those as enemies for those games. But I know a lot of people wanted to see King K. Rool because he's basically the Bowser for Donkey Kong. Like you just can't keep the two apart from each other. And so the fact that kudos to the director of this game for really doing his homework, which the director of this game actually said he put it in an interview. He got interviewed with a couple other people, and he said that he went back and replayed all of the Donkey Kong games, which is like fantastic homework for somebody. Like that just proves that. I mean, there's more. Oh, we even forgot to touch on one of the layers. We'll get back to in a second with Diddy and Dixie Kong, but the fact that like you could tell he did his homework. Like it's in the game. You see with all the references. I know you probably wouldn't have noticed it, but some of the fossils were definitely references to other Donkey Kong games, like characters and stuff or enemies. In some of those fossils, not the big ones, but more like the smaller ones. So that was kind of cool to see that. But anyways, with King K. Rool, just seeing him and like being able to duke it out, and it was funny because like the fact that you just kept fighting him like more than once was like they're really trying to sell this ending, because of how long it's been since you've had a throwdown with him, and I was all for it. Like I even though that final boss fight with him in the arena was just aggravating, I still was like okay with it because it was like this has been a long time coming, and I will enjoy every minute of it, even if it means I'm suffering every minute of it. Like with this combat, the mechanics, I should say. So, yeah. If you want to splurge even more, go ahead, my friend.
You know what? It's just like like you said. I enjoyed the boss fights a lot. I really didn't have like too much else to say on this matter because like we kind of covered it before on like other topics before.
Yeah.
It's just like the last levels, like I said, when you're getting down there to the void area and you gain the will of like the planet basically to help you out there. It just was like such a drastically like tonal shift, I guess you could say. That's the word I'm looking for here.
Yes, yeah.
Where you go from like I said, it feels like I'm about to fight the last boss in Elden Ring. It's just like these weird chains are everywhere. This weird, dark hole, like edge of the galaxy, like kind of thing that you see in sci-fi. It does feel like it has like this weird sci-fi undertone to it, and it's just like randomly like King K. Rool's here, and he's like huge. And he's gonna mess you up, and all you could think of is like, if I recall, he was like he failed the first time. That's why he was in the state he was. If I recall,
yeah,
because
he got. I mean, he basically got the brakes being off of him 3 times in a row, maybe 4 times, but definitely 3 times with the original Country games, and I would have to look into it. I don't know how he would have gotten down to the core of the planet. Maybe one of the games explains it, but nonetheless, like. Like And O says in the chat, like he was pure like an evil character. There was no sympathetic bone in his body, and like his actions, like he wanted to bring the rotten banana everywhere. Like that was like really cool and like really funny at times too. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm trying to think what else I wanted to add to that, but anyways, it was a very, I think it probably ranks high in one of my like gaming climactic endings or whatever, like final bosses, because of like how important that character is in the Donkey Kong universe. So to wrap things up here, I just want to kind of touch a little bit on like lore, just a little bit as far as like timeline, but it is interesting. So going back to one of the layers with Diddy Kong and Dixie Kong that you meet, and it's like the racing layer. And I know you hinted that you had issues with the controls with that layer. I didn't have issues. I think I beat it in one try, but I can see how it was a bit difficult because I was lucky with one of the turns that I took in that race, and I got very fortunate. But real quickly, like what were I guess your kind of like issues with the controls with that?
It just felt like what's the best way to describe it? You know how like semi trucks have like
this thing takes wide turns. You know?
Yeah, yes.
That's
Oh
that's
my
like
goodness.
the biggest issue I had. It was it's like this rhino takes wide turns. Right?
I love it. I love it.
It just felt like I
Ye-
like the idea, but it just feels like compared to like the rest of this game, it's like I feel like they added it at the last minute. You know what I'm saying? Like they added this specific mechanic at the last minute and just said like, you know, it's done. You know, it's like at the end, like you know, if you have you ever watched those cooking shows when they like have like the people frantically trying to get their last like bit of thing done on like a cake or something? You
Yes, yeah,
know?
yeah, and they're like trying to top it off real quickly, and then they might make a mistake, and something falls over, and
Yeah, like it's like that meme of the like where it's like the next Top Chef child, and like the little girl watches her thing fall over, and she starts crying.
yes,
It's
yes.
like that was them when they added the rhino. It feels just it's like we gotta ship it out. We have no more time to fix
Yeah,
this.
yeah, yeah. That's funny.
know?
Um, okay, well, so talking about those two characters and like the grander story of this game and the lore, yeah. So Pauline, references her grandma a lot, and so I watched an interesting video from Game Explain, who I don't really care to watch them a whole lot, but they said that Pauline referencing her grandma and then like Cranky Kong being the original Donkey Kong would mean that the original Donkey Kong game is like kind of like the start of like the Mario story or whatever. But Mario is not Jumpman. Jumpman is a different character. And then the fact that this game has New Donk City in it, which is like one of the main levels in Super Mario Odyssey, of course with Pauline there, kind of connects the two games that way. Um, and also when it comes to the Donkey Kong games, when you talk to Diddy and Dixie Kong, they say how like, yeah, they reference their old adventures. Like, yeah, we went on adventures together. Even at one point, we had to rescue Donkey Kong. So it's kind of cool that they reference that, implying that those games happened beforehand, and in the grand, like in this like fake timeline or whatever, unofficial timeline. I like that because it made sense. The only thing that doesn't really make sense now is like the age of Donkey Kong compared to Mario, because it would imply that Donkey Kong is like pretty old compared to Mario, but I know, anyways, it's just cool to see that like Pauline, that's where she got her start, and then we see her in Odyssey. And now there is one line in Odyssey that kind of sounds odd, because she does say in Odyssey that she was kidnapped by an ape and that was saved by Mario. I don't know if that'll get retconned in like an update in Super Mario Odyssey, but besides that, like everything else kind of makes sense and flows really well, and it was really cool just to see that. But yeah, the final thing I'll want to talk about this game was I really liked the what do you call it, the outro to the game, the credits roll. Very Japanese anime ending to a game. Just like with the music playing and like the dramatic like feeling as you're kind of like flying through the sub layers again. Well, I guess your thoughts, you kind of think the same thing too, right there, Carl?
Yeah, I did like like you fake out or like gag.
Yes.
Like I said, it's just they. How can I say this? They really nailed the tone of just like that wonder, that excitement, that like awe thing with every level that you did in this game.
Yes.
And like the ending of it just was like so chaotic and wild. It felt like they did like a nice spaced out, like the rule of threes, I guess you could say.
Okay.
So like they, instead of just doing like all in one kind of encompassing fight with the King K rule where he's got 3 different modes, like they did like 3 different levels
Yes.
of fighting King K rule.
Yeah, 3 different, essentially like kind of like 3 different forms of him in a way. But yeah, no, I understand that. But like I'm talking about like the credits roll. I like the credits roll a lot. I like the song that plays. I like how it's kind of formatted. Very.
It's like
yeah.
when they had like for Pilot and
Oh,
Ed Sheeran was like singing.
Oh, yeah, you're cutting out by the way. But
Oh, am I? Can you hear me now?
yeah, I got you now. Say that one more time. It was like what?
It's like Scarlet and Violet when they had Ed Sheeran do the last song.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Oh, you didn't know that?
No, that's odd, but okay.
Yeah, like the final cutscene in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, just like Ed Sheeran. It's an Ed Sheeran song.
That's weird. Wow. Well, I'm kind of glad they didn't go that route because, yeah, I'm not gonna sit here and complain about modern pop music, but I like the anime outro too. It just made me laugh because it's very Japanese and everything. I like the overall theme,
Yeah.
the music theme of this game. You know, like you said, it's like this combination of like Zoomers and whatnot, like this type of era, and it wasn't cringy. I guess the best way I can explain it. Like I thought
It was catchy.
was
Not cringy,
catchy.
It was catchy.
Yes, that's what. Yeah, catchy is the right word. I
It's
mean,
it's what you want for a pop song. Is you want it to be catchy.
yeah, and that's why you got everybody running around yelling zebra.
Zebra.
Yep. Well, this has been a blast. It's unfortunate. Zero had to drop out real quickly, but I know he really loved this game. I mean, out of the three of us, he 100% the game, and I want to do that too. It's a bit of a commitment. So, the last thing I think we should say real quickly is that there was DLC announced for this game just the other day, paid DLC, and I'm very
Today for everyone in America.
yeah, sorry, today for everyone. I'm very curious to see how that'll play out because they have like DK Island there, so you can run around DK Island, and there's some extra content that's been added. So, maybe we'll do a part 2 in the future, or we'll maybe Zero, he might do a video about it or stream about it, talking about the DLC. But I'm not rushing to play it right away. I think I want to 100% the game before I buy the DLC, but. I did not expect that they would do DLC, so I owe Brian $5 because he asked me before the direct. He's like, "Are they gonna do a DK Bananza DLC?" I was like, "Dude, the game just came out. Like, what are they gonna do DLC about?" And then I had to eat my my own words there. So
Don't pay them. It's funnier that way.
it's funnier that way. But yeah, so I appreciate you gentlemen coming on and hanging out. This has been a lot of fun just talking about this game. I had a lot of fun. I mean, I want to go back and play it now because I really want to get back into it and 100% it. So, but
Yeah, man. After this direct, I want to do so many.
yes, play so many games and talk about the direct. Yeah, that was a really great direct that just aired the 12. Actually, it aired like 10 hours ago for us. So. Yeah, so anyways, you got anything you want to show for the people, my friend, since we're wrapping things up here, and I'll put your links in the chat. They're also in the description of the video for those of you guys watching.
Everything's kind of like to be determined now. But I am doing a show tomorrow morning with Abomination AJ. I think we're going to go over the Nintendo Direct. So you can find us over there on his channel. And beyond that, everything is just kind of like, we'll see. I got some videos I'm working on. They're in the editing phase. But, life comes at you fast. And, got a lot of stuff to do. It seems like sometimes, like, I get on a good hot streak and I have time. And then all of a sudden, all the time disappears. So.
Oh, true that.
And the holidays are approaching, and it's football season. So I got less time.
Yeah, I hate when that happens. You're like,
oh, and the sumos are back tomorrow. That's another problem.
Oh boy, yeah, you're gonna have no time now.
I'm gonna have no time. I guess if you want to say shout out my boys, Wata Takakage and Aonishiki. Hope they go far in this tournament.
Yeah, yes. All right, so your link is in the chat there. I gotta update the description of the stream. I guess I didn't put it in there earlier, but there's your link, and I've got Zero's link here. He's basically like a Transformer YouTube. He likes to do a weekly live stream talking about the latest Transformer news for like anything toys, the third market stuff, anything maybe movie related or animation related. He does it every week on Tuesdays for you guys. I think, or Mondays, or no, Tuesdays. And then he's also part of Gronkanon Dogs. He makes an appearance on that channel, which actually I should pull that link up just for the heck of it. Talking about video game news and having fun over there with the boys and a lot of their bad opinions on Nintendo. just to be funny. So, yeah. And as for me, well, I pull up the Gronkin link here. I have a video that's in the works right now. I actually need to do some recording for it, just a couple things, and then I'll be able to publish it. But I just published or uploaded a F1 video, just a short video I made. It was pretty fun to make it. I got to get back into F1 racing, so to just have some more fun with it. But that was pretty neat. I did a live stream the other day finishing Xenoblade Chronicles X on the Switch, and that was really fun, except for that last couple fights. That was really bad. As far as future streaming goes, I might do a stream on Sunday evening with somebody just doing some gunpla and miniature painting, but it really depends on my work schedule for that day. And then for future streams, I'm not sure because I'm going to be really busy too. I have a big trip coming up, so I'm definitely not going to be offline for like I'll be offline for probably like 6 to 8 weeks, so we'll see how that goes. But yeah, a lot of great announcements with Nintendo Direct that just came out. A lot of cool stuff. Release dates finally. Yeah. Oh, my bad. I muted you there. Yeah, a lot of
You're fine.
a lot of great release dates were finally announced. So that's the most important thing for me, as I was waiting for these release dates. So appreciate you guys in the chat. Let me just give a quick shout out to people that came on by. Of course, we had Ernest Ferratu the Vampire, Abomination AJ, RNG Gaming was there, and Pop Culture Mechanic, everybody's favorite, Micro Light, Nerportal Lifeform, the Spoiler Searcher himself, Nerd Takes. Great to see you here. I know he beat the game. He really enjoyed Bonanza. Of course, Jana Banana, thanks for coming on by. Electric Porpoise. Let me make sure. Viking Warrior. I didn't see you there. My bad, brother. You slipped through there. Sorry about that. And any of you guys that catches in the VOD, I know Jason, our buddy Jason, said he'll catch us later once he beats the game because he's a big DK fan. So looking forward to hearing his thoughts about it. But as far as an outro goes, I have a video. I don't know if it's loaded up, but I'll try to play it as quickly as I can. I appreciate you guys coming on by. We'll catch you guys later. Enjoy the rest of your upcoming weekend.
Wait. Sorry, man. I feel like I failed you.
Hey, anybody there?
So, I hear you've been pretty busy.